Chapter 304. Crisis. Yi Xian immersed his mind into the devouring space. He noticed that this celestial blue stone was different from the one he saw before. The celestial blue stone was dark green in color, and it was glowing with a faint green light. But this small celestial blue stone was slightly transparent. Could it be that this celestial blue stone has been digested halfway, and I can't devour it anymore? Yi Xian thought to himself, then he tried again. Ding, devouring failed. Damn it, forget it, let's find the inner core first. Yi Xian cursed, then he quickly flew away. He had found the celestial blue stone, but there was still the inner core. If he were to sell it, he would be able to sell it for at least 10 million, or even tens of millions of high-grade crystal stones. But after searching for a while, there was no reaction from the treasure-hunting deer's bloodline. Right at this moment, the area within the Heavenly Yuan sect had been burned to the ground, and all the rocks that fell from the sky had turned into ashes. Yi Xian, did you find it? A voice came from afar. Yi Xian turned around. It was the Divine Prefecture Alliance's chief, Zheng Miao. Yi Xian pretended to helplessly shake his head. Sigh, if I found it, I would have just left. Why would I stay here? Too bad we didn't find the celestial blue stone or the inner core. Zheng Miao shook his head. Soon, all the men from the Divine Prefecture City gathered together, and so did the 5 men from the Sun Hill City. These men from the Divine Prefecture City had lost all hope, so they were preparing to leave. But right at this moment. Stop right there. A sudden shout caused all of them to tremble. Wasn't this the Sun Hill City Lord's voice? Sun Hill City Lord, what can I do for you? Zheng Shuahai turned around. Hand over your storage rings. The Sun Hill City Lord shouted coldly. What? Everyone on the back of the cloud-soaring bird were startled. Sun Hill City Lord, do you think one of us has found a treasure? Zheng Shuahai squinted his eyes. That's right, all of your storage rings, hand them over for me to check. The Sun Hill City Lord nodded his head. Chui Linjiang, aren't you going a bit too far? Zheng Shuahai shouted. Chui Linjiang was the real name of the Sun Hill City Lord. Too much? So what if it's too much? Old man, don't talk about the rule of the first City Lord. Do you think that just because I can't attack, I can't do anything to you? Chui Linjiang's eyes were cold. Behind him were 4 early Heavenly Core warriors. On the other hand, there was only one person from Divine Land City. Zheng Shuahai's face darkened. Indeed, Sun Hill City was one of the 3 upper cities of the Central State, and they were not allowed to make a move against the City Lord of the Divine Prefecture City of the 3 lower cities. However, in the entire Central State, only 3 people were subject to this restriction. Simply put, the 4 people behind Chui Linjiang could attack. Not good, this Chui Linjiang never thought of letting us go. Zheng Shuahai instantly reacted. Father, what should we do? Zheng Yu frowned. Zheng Shuahai thought quickly in his heart, but he could not think of any other way out. Now they probably only had one way to go, and that was to obediently hand over the interspatial ring. However, there was no guarantee that Chui Linjiang would not kill them after taking them. After all, behind Zheng Shuahai's back was the Divine Land City. Once Zheng Shuahai was killed, the Divine Land City would become a city without a master. Looks like we have no choice but to die. Zheng Miao, bring the others and leave this place. Zheng Yu, you ride the soaring cloud bird. I'll jump down and lure the other 2 away. Zheng Shuahai said in a low voice. This was their only way out. There was only one Heavenly Core rock from Sun Hill City. As long as Zheng Shuahai jumped down, the Sun Hill City would send at least 2 men to kill him. Chui Linjiang couldn't do it himself, therefore, there were only 2 early Heavenly Core warriors chasing after the soaring cloud bird. Yi Xian, Zheng Yu, and the other 3 men shouldn't have any problems facing 2 early Heavenly Core warriors. Looks like this is the only way. We'll split into 3 groups, at least we won't be caught in one fell swoop. We'll leave our lives to fate. Zheng Yu said. Little brother Yi, I'm sorry for dragging you into this. Zheng Shuahai said with guilt. Senior, I feel like if we split into 3 groups there's a fatal flaw. Yi Xian suddenly said. What? Zheng Shuahai was startled. Yi Xian said, the rule set by the first City Lord is that the City Lords of the upper 3 cities are not allowed to attack anyone from the mayor's mansion in the lower 3 cities, right? That's right. Zheng Shuahai nodded his head. Can the Sun Hill City Lord attack this soaring cloud bird? Yi Xian said slowly. As soon as these words were spoken, everyone's expression changed. I don't know. But that Chui Linjiang might not have thought of this, otherwise he would have already attacked. Zheng Shuahai said with a gloomy expression. Splitting into 3 groups is too dangerous. Yi Xian didn't agree. He shook his head and said, I have a plan. Little brother Yi, please tell us. Zheng Shuahai's eyes lit up. Yi Xian said without hesitation, "Senior, the 5 of you will hold off 2 of them. As for the other 2, leave them to me." "What? Leave them to you?" Zheng Shuahai and the others were shocked. "That's right, Senior, you just need to hold off 1 or 2 of them. Or we can go down there and have a bet. Let me kill one of them first, then everything will be simple." Yi Xian nodded his head and said, "Little brother Yi, are you kidding me? You want to kill a early heavenly core warrior?" Zheng Shuahai couldn't believe it. "Senior, do you remember? I was only at the early Earth core realm, but I helped you kill the Guangjin City Lord. Yesterday I broke through again and now I'm at the late Earth core realm. I think with my current strength I can kill a early heavenly core warrior." After saying that, Yi Xian purposely released his core energy and let these people feel it. Sure enough, he was at the late Earth core realm. Just like Zheng Miao. "Little brother Yi, are you sure you can do it?" Although Yi Xian's strength was shocking, Zheng Shuahai still couldn't believe it. "If it's that Xie Hui, I have 80% confidence that I can kill him." Yi Xian nodded his head and said. Hearing this, Zheng Shuahai's eyes lit up. "If that's the case, as long as we can lure him out and have a fair fight, even if Xie Hui dies, that Chui Linjiang won't be able to use this as an excuse to attack us." Yi Xian nodded his head. The person he was most afraid of right now was that Chui Linjiang. As long as Chui Linjiang didn't attack, then everything would be easy. What he was afraid of was that Chui Linjiang would ignore the rules set by the first city lord. "What are you guys whispering about? Are you going to hand it over or not?" Chui Linjiang's voice sounded out. Just as Zheng Shuahai was about to speak, Yi Xian jumped down from the soaring cloud bird and landed on the ground. He said, "Xie Hui, in this storage ring of mine, there are more than 10 million high-grade crystal stones worth of natural treasures. Do you dare to come down and fight me?" Hearing this, all 5 men on the giant rock were startled. Chapter 305. Killing Xie Hui, it's nothing, it's just a battle of life and death. As long as you kill him, his storage ring will be yours. If you die in his hands, then your interspatial ring will be his, Zheng Shuahai replied. "What kind of joke is this?" Xie Hui furrowed his brows. He knew that the opponent was planning something. "Elder Xie, you go down there and kill that guy," Yang Ling Mayor suddenly said. "All right." Xie Hui nodded his head, then he jumped down from the rock. "Young man, I don't know what you're trying to do, but I know that you'll be killed by my palm strike." Xie Hui stared at Yi Xian and said. Yi Xian let out an indifferent smile. He stabbed the Bahuang sword into the ground with one hand, and held an empty storage ring with the other. He said, "I'm just looking for death, Senior, please grant me my wish." "Fine, I'll grant you your wish." Without saying anything else, Xie Hui immediately dashed towards Yi Xian. He didn't even take out his weapon. Why would he need a weapon to deal with an Earth Core warrior like Yi Xian? In just 2 seconds, Xie Hui had crossed 1,000 meters and arrived in front of Yi Xian. He stared at the dumbstruck Yi Xian, then he reached out his claw and grabbed towards Yi Xian's throat. But right at this moment, Yi Xian reached out his hand with lightning speed and grabbed Xie Hui's wrist. At the same time, the Bahuang sword on the ground suddenly broke apart and flew towards Xie Hui. "What?" Xie Hui's eyes lit up. An Earth Core brat was actually able to catch up with his speed, and even managed to block his attack. This was impossible. In the next moment he felt a cold sensation on his neck. His head was thrown into the air and a stream of blood shot up into the sky. Instant kill. Yi Xian released a surge of Dan Qi, blocking the blood that was spurting out. Then he took out Xie Hui's universe ring. With the bloodline of the treasure-hunting deer, he could see through everyone's belongings. All of Xie Hui's belongings should be in this storage ring. Looking at Xie Hui's dead body falling onto the ground, everyone was shocked and speechless. Killing a mid-heavenly core warrior with a single strike besides Chui Linjiang, who else could do this? What is that? Everyone focused their eyes and discovered that there were 8 sharp blades floating around Yi Xian. What kind of martial art is that? How can one use their Jindan essence to control a sharp blade and kill Xie Hui? Everyone was puzzled. However, it was a fact that Yi Xian had one-shot Xie Hui. Damn it! What's the matter with this kid? Yang Ling City Lord could not help cursing. He wondered if he would have ended up the same as Xie Hui if he had been there just now. Yi Xian reassembled the Bahuang sword and shouted, "Who else? Mother asterisk her, this brat is too arrogant. No matter how he did it, I have to go and find out." A middle-aged man turned his head to look at the Sun Hill City Lord and said, "City Lord, let me go. Don't end up like Xie Hui and be killed by that brat." Chui Linjiang nodded his head. He couldn't understand Yi Xian's technique either, that's why he wanted to see it again. "Don't worry, City Lord, I'll definitely kill that brat and avenge Senior Xie." After saying that, the middle-aged man jumped down onto the ground. Seeing this, Yi Xian's eyes suddenly flashed with killing intent. Another man had come to die. There was a reason why he had one-shot Xie Hui just now. It was because Xie Hui didn't put him in his eyes. If it was someone else who had come, and Yi Xian had one-shot him, Xie Hui would definitely be surprised and report this to Cui Linjiang. Then Cui Linjiang would definitely suspect that Yi Xian had one-shot young Master Yang Ling and kept his body. But now that Xie Hui was dead, he wasn't worried that Cui Linjiang would find out. This way Cui Linjiang wouldn't have an excuse to kill him. Most importantly, he had secretly set up an echo formation on the ground just now. If this middle-aged man dared to step into this area, he would not be able to escape his fate of being one-shot. "Brat, I'm going to break your neck with my own hands and avenge Senior Xie," the middle-aged man shouted and rushed toward Yi Xian. However, he wasn't as stupid as Xie Hui. Instead, he took out his weapon and used a large amount of Jindan to protect it to prevent any accidents from happening. When Yi Xian heard this, he just smiled indifferently. What revenge? He obviously wanted Xie Hui's interspatial ring, right? That old man Xie Hui's net worth is not bad. He has about 10 million top-grade crystals. I wonder how much you have. Yi Xian stood in place, quietly waiting for the other party to approach. The echo formation had a range of 50 meters. The moment the middle-aged man stepped in, Yi Xian condensed the great desolate sword and swept it toward him. The middle-aged man's weapon was a long blade. He instinctively tried to block the attack, but he immediately felt a huge impact and was sent flying away. Just now, Yi Xian had secretly eaten a great strength pill, and it wasn't something an ordinary person could withstand. If it was Yangling City's governor, Cui Linjiang, he might be able to withstand it, but the middle-aged man in front of him was only at the early heavenly core realm. Bang! When the middle-aged man was sent flying, the 8 Desolation Great Sword also exploded in an instant. The middle-aged man felt his head become heavy, as if his consciousness had fallen into an ice cave. He was frozen and his mind was slowed down. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Yi Xian disintegrated the Great Desolate Sword. Great Desolate Wind Formation Heavenly Charge. 8 sharp blades formed into a sharp cone above the middle-aged man's head, then they suddenly pierced down. Slash. The middle-aged man's chest was cut open, but his corpse was still sent flying away. Yi Xian took a big step forward and took away the storage ring. Plop. The middle-aged man's corpse fell onto the ground, and it instantly fell into a pool of blood. Yi Xian had once again killed a nascent heavenly core warrior. The Yangling City Lord's eyes were wide open. The 4 nascent heavenly core warriors under his command were all very strong, and almost all of them could fight Jianghu. However, with such strength they couldn't even withstand a single blow from Yi Xian. This was out of his expectation. This guy killed 2 of my generals in a row. I think he is trying to weaken my strength. Right at this moment the Yangling City Lord finally reacted. But what he couldn't understand was why Yi Xian had such strength. His talent was comparable to Yang Qin, the leader of the 4 young masters of the Zhong province. You two go and kill him. The Yangling City Lord shouted. Mayor Yu, one of the men turned around in shock. Ding Tao, you are the vice mayor of Yangling City. Although you and I have never become sworn brothers, you and I are like brothers. Do you understand what I mean? The Yangling City Lord squinted his eyes and said. When the man called Ding Tao heard this, his eyes lit up. Big brother, I understand. Those who were able to cultivate to this stage were no idiots. Ding Tao immediately understood Cui Linjiang's intention. Very good, you guys go. Remember, don't get within 100 meters of that guy. The Yangling City Lord reminded them. Chapter 306. Life on the line, damn brat die. Ding Tao let out a loud shout, then he started sprinting towards Yi Xian. Not good. When Zheng Shuahai and the other men saw this, their expressions immediately changed. Zheng Shuahai even shouted out, help! They quickly jumped off the soaring cloud bird, preparing to intercept one of them and reduce Yi Xian's burden. However, Yi Xian didn't have a good expression either. He could still handle 2 early heavenly core warriors. What made him feel helpless was that Zheng Shuahai and the other men had fallen into his trap. Bang! Zheng Shuahai immediately attacked Ding Tao, and so did Zheng Yu and the other men. While Ding Tao and the other man were fighting back, Cui Linjiang, who was riding on the back of the rock, also had a murderous look in his eyes. Big brother, I'm injured. Right at this moment, Ding Tao, who was lying on the ground, suddenly shouted out. His shoulder had been grazed by a sword energy just now. Swoosh. Cui Linjiang immediately jumped off the rock and dashed towards Zheng Shuahai. Damn it, we fell into his trap. Only now did Zheng Shuahai realize what had happened, but it was too late. Yi Xian had a gloomy expression on his face. If this was the case, then he had no choice but to quickly reduce the enemy's numbers, then he could attack Cui Linjiang together. 8 Desolate Wind Formation Kill. He took a big step forward and arrived in front of Ding Tao, then he threw out a punch. Ding Tao was defending against Zheng Shuahai's attack just now, so he didn't notice that Yi Xian had arrived in front of him. Only when the latter threw out a punch did he try to block it with his hand. Bang! Yi Xian's punch landed on Ding Tao's shoulder, and at the same time, 8 sharp blades swept across Ding Tao's body. In an instant, Ding Tao was cut into pieces, and his storage ring was taken away by Yi Xian. What? Ding Tao was instantly killed as well? Cui Linjiang was shocked, but now he had a perfect excuse. After killing Ding Tao, Yi Xian shouted out, "Senior, I'll stop Cui Linjiang, you guys kill this man." This person referred to the other man who had come down with Ding Tao. "You! How dare you stop me? Give me your life." Hearing this, Cui Linjiang was furious. Yi Xian had killed 3 of his subordinates in front of him. How could he not take revenge? Damn it. When Zheng Shuahai and the others heard this, they were very regretful. Why did they attack without thinking? Yi Xian clearly had the ability to take on 2 people at once. If they didn't make a move, then Cui Linjiang wouldn't be able to either. At this moment, Yi Xian had already activated the deadly wind array to its maximum. He took out pills to recover as he retreated. If he wanted to fight with Zheng Shuahai, he could only rely on the 8 Desolate Wind Slaughter formation. What the F*CK Crispy Noodle Snacks. Luckily, the Bahuang sword gets stronger when it encounters a strong opponent. Its current boost has already surpassed that of most high-grade Earth-grade weapons. Yi Xian thought to himself. Clang, 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 clang. Cui Linjiang held a long sword in his hand and directly charged into the wind-killing array of desolation, slashing away the sharp blades that were attacking him. His strength was not something that Ding Tao and the others could compare to. However, it wouldn't be so easy to stop him like this. Yi Xian was already operating at full power, but Cui Linjiang was blocking it very easily. In fact, it looked like he still had energy left. He gritted his teeth, took out an earth-grade longbow and raised it to shoot. The deadly wind array of desolation consumed a lot of spiritual power. Yi Xian hadn't tried multitasking before. Now he was going to try it out. Chain of 7 stars. Yi Xian raised his hand and shot out a series of arrows. Umph. Cui Linjiang also swept out a sword light, scattering the arrows in an instant. What a strong Jindan essence. Even venerable arrows boost can't make up for it. Yi Xian thought to himself and shot out a few more chain of 7 stars arrows. However, his multitasking gave Cui Linjiang an opportunity. If you focus on these 8 blades, I really can't do anything to you. It's a pity that you gave yourself an opening. Cui Linjiang clearly felt that the speed of the 8 blades had decreased a lot. He took a big stride forward and closed the distance to within 20 meters. Yi Xian was also regretting his decision. He hurriedly put away his longbow and swallowed a pill. He had wanted to use up more of Cui Linjiang's Jindan essence, but now it looked like he had done more harm than good. If attacking won't work, then I'll use another method. He thought to himself, and his hands began to form seals. In an instant, the surrounding air started to sizzle, and clouds of fog started to spread. Cui Linjiang was shocked again. He didn't expect Yi Xian to know spiritual arrays. This was going to be troublesome. This kid's Jindan essence is so strong. It must be the effect of that pill. Now, with this spiritual array, my Jindan essence might be depleted first. Cui Linjiang was a little hesitant. He wondered if he should just retreat and kill Zheng Shuahai and the others first. However, after hearing the angry shouts from behind, he gave up on the idea. "City Lord, save me!" The man let out a tragic cry. He was besieged by Zheng Shuahai, Zheng Yu and the other 3 and finally couldn't hold on anymore. Cui Linjiang turned around and saw his head thrown into the air. Blood splattered several meters high. "I can't let this go on. I have to end this quickly." Cui Linjiang suddenly made a decision. He activated a cultivation method, and the Jindan essence in his body started to burn. His entire aura instantly skyrocketed by a few notches. What? Yi Xian sensed it and was immediately shocked. "Kid, you can be proud of yourself for forcing me to burn my Jindan essence and use my trump card at the risk of dropping my cultivation level. Now give me your life." After Cui Linjiang's aura skyrocketed, his speed also skyrocketed. He was originally more than 20 meters away from Yi Xian, but after he took a step, he was only 15 meters away. With another step, he swept directly in front of Yi Xian. "Kid, die." Cui Linjiang condensed a thick wave of Jindan essence and slashed at Yi Xian. This time Yi Xian sensed great danger. He hurriedly retracted his 8 blades and formed a shield. Bang! The sword ray slashed the Octotera shield, instantly sending it flying backward and crashing into Yixian. Kid, you're finished? Cui Linjiang shot forward, determined to kill Yixian. At this moment Yixian could already smell the scent of death. He didn't expect Cui Lijiang to have such a trick up his sleeve. Everything happened so quickly that he couldn't even find anything useful in the devouring system. Now, there was only one way, and that was to use the exploding aperture technique. Explode all 7 apertures. I'll do it. Yixian gritted his teeth and condensed his Jindan essence on his 7 apertures. Poof, poof, poof. However, just as he was about to explode his 3rd aperture, a figure suddenly stepped into Yixian's sensing range. Chapter 307. Mini-giant Cui Linjiang, stop. A loud shout rang out. Cui Linjiang ignored it and continued to swing his sword. This time he was determined to kill Yixian so as to avoid future troubles. When the figure who stepped into Yixian saw that Cui Linjiang didn't intend to stop, it instantly crossed 1,000 meters and appeared in front of Yixian. His long sword was easily caught by a pair of hands unable to move. Who is it? Cui Linjiang's eyes widened as he stared at the figure that suddenly appeared in front of him. In the next instant his body trembled. He knew this person. The first main city's vice city lord Yang Kai. How could it be him? Cui Linjiang was extremely shocked. City Lord Yang, what are you doing? Yang Kai squinted his eyes and loosened his grip. Cui Linjiang, you can't attack anymore. What? Cui Linjiang asked. Sorry, this is the city lord's order, I just came out to stop him. Yang Kai explained. He killed my brother, the vice city lord of Sunhill City. I can't go against the first city lord's order, right? After saying that, Cui Linjiang walked past Yang Kai and attacked Yixian. However, his sword suddenly couldn't swing down because the blade was caught by Yang Kai's 2 fingers. I said you can't attack anymore or else I'll kill you on the spot. A murderous intent flashed across Yang Kai's eyes. Suddenly, a mini flying dragon appeared around him. When he saw the mini flying dragon, Cui Linjiang was stunned and he subconsciously cried out in surprise, the strength of a flying dragon, you're in the physical strength realm? Physical strength realm. This was the realm after the heavenly core realm, and it was also the first of the 4 spirit realms. The mini flying dragon flying around Yang Kai meant that Yang Kai had the strength of a flying dragon. A single punch from him was enough to blow Cui Linjiang apart. That's impossible, you? Cui Linjiang cried out in surprise. Cui Linjiang, are you trying to say that I was only at the late heavenly core realm last year? Yang Kai coldly snorted. Could it be that you won't allow me to break through? Cui Linjiang withdrew his sword and took a few steps back. A strength warrior could easily kill 100 late heavenly core warriors. This was the perfect example of reaching the heavens in a single bound. Do you really think you'll be able to break through to the strength realm just by obtaining this nascent heavenly core? Yang Kai said, even if you cultivate your core essence to its peak without a soul condensing stone, it's impossible for you to shatter your core and form a soul core and break through to the strength realm. Condensing soul stone? Cui Linjiang muttered to himself. This was the first time he had heard of this. Originally, he thought breaking through from the heavenly core realm to the strength realm was just a normal breakthrough, but he didn't expect that he would need something else. Enough, stop, if you continue I'll kill you on the spot, Yang Kai said slowly. Cui Linjiang fell silent. Just now he was only half a second away from killing Yixian, but Yang Kai had suddenly appeared out of nowhere. Yixian was only at the late earthly core realm, but he already had such strength. If he broke through to the heavenly core realm, wouldn't he be able to threaten Cui Linjiang? A genius like this had to be killed in the cradle. But now Yang Kai was here and the mysterious first city lord was watching. Cui Linjiang was afraid that he couldn't do anything. This Yang Kai was just following orders. Could it be that I was too early to kill him? Could it be that I had to wait until Ding Tao was dead? Cui Linjiang didn't understand the situation, but he had been warned twice by Yang Kai. If he attacked again he would be the first one to die. Damn it, just you wait. Cui Linjiang cursed angrily, then he immediately summoned Depeng and left in a hurry. Looking at Yang Kai's back as he left, Yixian, who had almost died, quickly cupped his fist and said, "Thank you, senior, for your help. No worries, I was just following orders, goodbye." After saying this, Yang Kai disappeared, not even leaving behind an afterimage. An expert in the strength realm was indeed extraordinary. After he left, Yixian also breathed a sigh of relief. This time they were in danger again. "Little brother Yi, are you okay?" Jing Shuahai and the others hurried over. "I'm fine," Yixian shook his head. This old master is sorry, I fell into Cui Linjiang's trap and almost killed you, Zheng Shuahai said very guiltily. Yi Xian hurriedly said, Senior is too serious at that time, Senior just wanted to help me. No matter what, this is all my fault. Take this interspatial ring as an apology. Zheng Shuahai handed over an interspatial ring, which belonged to the man they had just killed. Yi Xian didn't argue and directly accepted it. Senior, that Cui Linjiang left in a hurry, maybe he is going to attack Guangjin City, you should go quickly, Yi Xian suddenly said. Good, then little brother Yi, be careful, come to Divine Land City when you have time. Zheng Shuahai nodded and left with Zheng Yu and the others. Since the Guangjin City Lord was dead, a new city lord must be elected. In the rules of the central state, there was no rule that said a city lord couldn't own two main cities. Although the Guangjin City Lord's net worth was only 10 to 20 million high-quality crystal stones, his territory was even more enormous. At this time the cloud-soaring bird also flew away, leaving only Yi Xian here. In his heart, there were still many doubts that had not been solved. For example, why did the green source giant self-destruct? Why couldn't he devour the transparent celestial blue stone? Why did the first city lord ask Cui Linjiang to stop, and so on? Ding, devouring failed. Yi Xian tried again, but the transparent celestial blue stone still couldn't be devoured. In desperation, Yi Xian could only move in the direction of Soaring Heaven Mansion. With his current speed, it would take him about a day to reach Soaring Heaven Mansion. On the way, he also poured the contents of the 4 interspatial rings into the devouring space, and then devoured the heavenly treasures that he didn't need. At this time, his devouring crystal stones had reached more than 18,000. However, he felt that there was still a long way to go before he could break through. However, just as he was about to devour the heavenly treasures, he suddenly noticed a strange phenomenon. The forging materials that he had accumulated in the devouring space had disappeared without a trace. What's going on? I've stored so many forging materials, why are they all gone? Yi Xian couldn't help but stop in his tracks. He sank his consciousness into the devouring space, and then he was shocked to find that there was a small thing moving around in the devouring space. It was the transparent celestial blue stone. However, unlike before, this celestial blue stone had a pair of mini hands and feet, and it was a mini version of the green source giant. Damn, the green source giant? Yi Xian was shocked. Chapter 308. Rock Spirit Translator. Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translation. Yi Xian grabbed the transparent green giant in his hand. Poof, 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 poof. The mini giant realized that it was being held in Yi Xian's hand. It immediately waved its 2 small stone arms and slapped the back of Yi Xian's hand. You little guy, what are you? If I say you're alive, you can actually jump around in my devouring space. If I say you're dead, you can't be devoured. Yi Xian looked at the little thing and suddenly thought of something. It was the nut wall in Plants vs. Zombies. However, it was a nut that was half-eaten by zombies and had become moldy and green. The mini giant felt very uncomfortable being held in Yi Xian's hand. It kept slapping the back of Yi Xian's hand, trying to get Yi Xian to put it down. You little thing, can you understand what I'm saying? Yi Xian asked. The mini giant blinked its eyes, looked innocently at Yi Xian, and then slightly nodded its head. Damn, I can understand you. Yi Xian was shocked again. Only now did he recall the strange reaction of the green giant. Could it be that the green giant couldn't consume that much energy after devouring the celestial stone and was afraid that it would explode? So it exploded several times and gave birth to thousands of green giants. And this mini giant was mutated from the remaining celestial blue stone? Yi Xian thought to himself. However, this was not important. What was important was that the mini giant must have swallowed all the forging materials. At that moment, Yi Xian pinched the mini giant's foot and turned it upside down to see if it would spit out the items. After all, those forging materials were worth at least several million top-grade crystals. Pa, pa, pa. The mini giant waved its arms wildly in the air and continued to look at Yi Xian with innocent eyes. Yi Xian could not bear to see it like this. At this moment, it suddenly bent its body and pushed Yi Xian's fingers with its 2 small arms. Surprisingly, it managed to break free. Yi Xian was stunned for a moment. He could only watch as the little guy fell headfirst into the soil. Then the little thing crawled out of the soil by itself. After glancing at Yi Xian, it turned around and ran. You want to run after eating my food? Yi Xian dashed forward and caught it. He then exchanged for a small cage from the devouring space and threw it inside. The gap in the cage was just slightly smaller than the little thing. It couldn't get out, so it could only beat the cage continuously. Shut up, I'm wondering if I should kill you, Yi Xian said in a low voice. This time the little thing stopped making a fuss and just looked at Yi Xian pitifully. To be honest, Yi Xian had no idea what this little thing was. Both the storage ring and the devouring space could not store living things, but this little thing was actually able to jump around in the devouring space. It was really strange. Therefore Yi Xian decided to bring it back to the Great Elder. He threw the little thing into the devouring space and continued on his journey. After breaking through to the minor Earth Core realm, his speed was no longer something that ordinary Heavenly Core warriors could catch up with. Although Zhou Yan and the other 4 left first, Yi Xian still caught up with them. After that, the 6 of them returned to the Soaring Heaven Mansion together. About a week later they finally arrived at the Soaring Heaven Mansion. After arriving, Yi Xian quickly left and headed towards the Soaring Heaven Mansion. If it wasn't because he was worried that something might happen to Zhou Yan and the others, he would have returned by himself. When he arrived at the Great Elder's place, he was shocked to find out that Song Suijing and Adjudicator Song were still in that strange state. Could something have happened to them? It's been more than a month. Yi Xian sensed that both siblings had broken through to the Heavenly Core realm. This really scared him. He had been fighting in the outside world for so long, and had almost lost his life many times, but he was only at the late Earth Core realm. But this pair of siblings' cultivation speed was even faster than his, and this was really hard for him to accept. Luckily, he was able to convince himself with one reason, and that was that Song Suijing was his fiancée. Since Song Suijing was fine, Yi Xian went to look for the Great Elder Lin Wenyue. Right at this moment, the bamboo forest was once again covered by an illusion formation. Without any other choice, Yi Xian shouted out loudly, "Great Elder, Yi Xian wishes to see you." In less than a second, the illusion formation was removed by Lin Wenyue. Creak. The door of the wooden hut was opened, and a white-haired lady walked out. She looked at Yi Xian and said, "Don't worry, your fiancé will be fine." Yi Xian was startled. He didn't expect his thoughts to be seen through by someone. But this time he didn't come here just because of Song Suijing. He looked at Lin Wenyue's calm expression and said, "Great Elder, I wonder if you've seen this thing before." After saying that, he took out the beast-trapping cage from his devouring space. But in the next moment he was shocked to find that the beast-trapping cage was open, and the little thing was not inside. His heart sank. He found that the little thing was once again stepping on all the natural treasures in his devouring space. F***ck, you bastard, come out. With a thought, Yi Xian grabbed the little thing and threw it into the beast-trapping cage. After seeing the little thing, the Great Elder's eyes flickered and said, "This is a rock spirit, a type of strange beast. It's born from precious ores, but it's extremely rare." After hearing this, Yi Xian's eyes lit up and said, "Great Elder, what's the use of this thing?" This strange beast is a type of demonic beast. If it's nurtured well, it can grow into a profound beast in the future. It can even become a sacred beast that's comparable to a spirit realm 4th stage. Lin Wenyue explained. Sacred beast? Hearing this, Yi Xian's eyes lit up. Isn't a wyvern a sacred beast? But Great Elder, the growth time of a profound beast seems to be very long. Yi Xian asked again. That's right, but this strange beast is different. This rock spirit mainly relies on ores and other forging materials. As long as it eats a lot, it can greatly increase its growth speed. Lin Wenyue said, "Since you have so many natural treasures, as long as you nurture it with all your strength, it can become a great help to you in the future." Hearing this, the little rock in the beast-trapping cage blinked its eyes. It looked at Yi Xian as if it was saying, "Did you hear that? Hurry up and let me out." Yi Xian thought for a moment. But how would he know if the little rock was an ingrate? Would it trample him to death when it became powerful in the future? Chapter 309. Conclude a contract. This reminded Yi Xian that there were many mystical beasts in the devouring system. Found it? Slave contract, equal contract, symbiotic contract. Yi Xian immediately found a lot of things. He looked at Little Shirtu sneakily and revealed a crafty smile. Little Shirtu blinked his eyes and subconsciously took a few steps back. He suddenly had a bad premonition. "Great Elder, I'll take my leave first." Yi Xian cupped his fist at Lin Wenyue and left. Lin Wenyue looked in front of her and quietly stood there for a while. Then she returned to her small wooden house. TSK, see if I don't kill you. How dare you eat my food and destroy my treasures." After leaving the bamboo forest, Yi Xian carried a cage in his hand and cursed angrily. As for the little thing in the cage, it was running around the cage as if doomsday had arrived. Yi Xian quickly returned to his residence and closed the door behind him. He placed the cage on the bed and sat cross-legged in front of it. Come, let's try the low-level slave contract first." Yi Xian took out a sheepskin scroll and spread it on the bed. He began to mutter some words that were hard to understand. Inside the cage, little Shirtu was startled and hastily stretched his hand out of the cage. Then with a cracking sound he actually opened the cage. Then he quickly escaped. Yixin opened his eyes when he heard the sound. He was almost scared to death. This little guy actually escaped from prison again right under his nose. However, this little thing was at most a demonic beast, not even a spirit beast. Yixin reached out and caught it. I think it's better to make a high-grade cage for beasts, Yixin thought to himself as he took out a new cage. It was more exquisite than the previous one and was about the same size. He threw the little thing inside and closed the small iron door. You can't open it now, right? Yixin snickered. Only his elixir essence could open this cage. Unless he destroyed the cage, this little thing would not be able to escape. The little thing was running around inside, stretching out its two slender arms as if it was shouting, "Let me out." Yixin ignored him and continued to chant his contract incantation. A few seconds later, a purple circle appeared on the parchment. Yixin cut his finger and dripped his blood into the circle. "TSK, you're finished?" Yixin placed the beast-trapping cage inside and continued chanting the incantation. The formation on the parchment expanded and enveloped the entire cage. Ding. Formation failed. A system notification suddenly rang in Yixin's mind. What? Failed? Yixin's eyes widened. He immediately reacted. Perhaps it was because Lil Thing's level was too high, so the level of the contract wasn't high enough. Intermediate servant contract. He spent some devour points to exchange for a new contract. 10 seconds later. Ding. Formation failed. Looks like it's still not enough. Advanced servant contract. Yixin began his third attempt. This advanced servant contract cost him a total of 500 devour points. Ding. Formation failed. The same notification sounded again. Yixin was stunned. Even the advanced servant contract didn't work. Could it be that he needed a top-tier one? Clap clap clap. Seeing Yixin fail so many times, Lil Thing in the beast-trapping cage excitedly slapped the bars. If it had a mouth, it would definitely laugh until its teeth fell out. Don't gloat over my misfortune. You're my prisoner now. You'd better obey me obediently. As long as you follow me, you'll have good food every day. What do you think? Yixin began to coerce. Lil Thing shook its head, indicating that it didn't want anything but freedom. Here, I'll give you this intermediate earth weapon. Yixin exchanged for an intermediate earth weapon, then opened the beast-trapping cage. Although Lil Thing wanted to run, he could grab it back with just a stretch of his hand. He wasn't afraid that Lil Thing would run away. When Lil Thing saw the middle-rank earth artifact, its eyes immediately lit up as it pounced on it. Then a crack appeared under its big eyes and it bit the blade. Damn, you have a mouth. Yixin was shocked. While he was still in shock, Lil Thing actually swallowed the entire intermediate earth weapon. Damn, this is comparable to my sword devouring technique. Yixin sighed, then asked, "What do you think? As long as you follow me, you'll have these things to eat every day." Lil Thing closed its mouth but still shook its head. Damn you, you ate my food and you still dare to refuse? Yixin reached out and hung Lil Thing upside down. Lil Thing gestured. Yixin was stunned, then said, "You mean this isn't enough?" Lil Thing nodded. "Alright, try this." Yixin exchanged for another high-grade earth artifact that was worth 5 devour crystals. Lil Thing swallowed the sword in a few seconds. "What do you think?" Yixin asked again. Lil Thing still shook its head, then gestured again. "What, you want 100? Yixin was shocked. 100 upper earth weapons was worth 500 devouring crystals. Lil Thing meant that it had to eat that many a day. If it ate 500 devouring crystals a day, then it would eat 15,000 a month. Now 5. Yixin began to bargain. Lil Thing also shook its head, then gestured again. 90. 10. 80. 15. 70. The two of them argued for a while, then finally settled on 30. 30 upper earth weapons a day was worth 150 devouring crystals. That would be 4,500 devouring crystals a month. In that case, Yixin's devouring crystals would only be enough to feed Lil Thing for 3 months. *CK, you're really asking for too much. Come on. Yixin took out another intermediate contract. Ding. Contract failed. Damn, I'm going to waste another advanced contract. Yixin painfully exchanged for another one. This time he finally heard a system notification that was different from the others. Ding. Contract successful. Hearing this, Yixin heaved a sigh of relief as if a heavy burden had been lifted from his shoulders. The contract had finally been successfully formed. Ding. Host has formed a slave contract with Rock Spirit. Please give it a name. It needs a name? Yi Xian was a little surprised, then asked, what name do you want it to be called? Lil Thing blinked its big eyes. It couldn't speak, so it could only wait for Yi Xian to name it. Lil Thing, Lil Thing, Lil Thing, Lil, Foodie, Lil, Rock, which one do you want? Yi Xian read them one by one. Lil Thing shook its head to express its dissatisfaction, then gestured again. Hey, you want a fancy name? Fine, let me think. Yi Xian thought for a moment, then said, Dan Tainyo Goshing, what do you think? Chapter 310. Wei Zhentian, if you want to go higher, then Murong Erden Huangfu Tiniu and Shenyuan Goshing should be fine, right? Yi Xian said. Lil Thing still shook its head. Then Wei Zhentian Optimus Prime Jingpatian? Potato, nut, tomato, potato. Yi Xian tried to name a few more names. This time, the little thing hesitated thoughtfully for a moment, and then gestured. What, you want the first one? That's too tasteless. Why don't you call it Iron Pillar? That's much easier to pronounce. Yi Xian blurted out. But who would have thought that Lil Thing would jump up and slap Yi Xian on the nose? *CK Wei Zhentian is Wei Zhentian. Yi Xian was helpless and quickly named Lil Thing. Ding, naming successful. Lil Thing, no, it should be called Wei Zhentian now. After successfully naming it, there was an additional attribute panel in Yi Xian's system. It was a column of items. Name, Wei Zhentian. Type, Rock Spirit. Current level, Early Stage True Spirit Realm. After eating so much, it's only at Early Stage True Spirit Realm. What a scam. Yi Xian was slightly helpless. At this moment. Ding, the attribute panel has been activated. The Thousand Beasts Bloodline Advancement route has been updated. Hearing this, Yi Xian subconsciously switched to the Bloodline panel. Thousand Beasts Bloodline, Advancement Route 1, Strength. Current level of advancement is 0. Every advancement increases the strength of both hands by 10%. Advancement Route 2, Agility. Current level of advancement is 1. Every advancement increases the movement speed by 10%. Advancement Route 3, Monster Growth Speed. Current level of advancement is 0. Every advancement increases the growth speed of monster by 10%. Advancement Route 4, Monster Attributes. Current level of advancement is 0. Every advancement increases the monster's attributes by 10%. Advancement Route 5, Monster Expansion. Current level of advancement is 0. Every advancement allows the taming of one more monster. There were 3 more advancement routes for the Thousand Beasts Bloodline. Yi Xian's eyes almost popped out. He did not expect the Thousand Beasts Bloodline to have such an effect. These advancement routes are not bad. Unfortunately, I did not encounter the Devourer Beast again. Yi Xian shook his head helplessly. Then, he immersed his consciousness into the devouring system again and directly selected a mystical beast growth plan that was worth 1,000 devouring crystals. Here, eat this. It will help you grow faster. Yi Xian opened a packet of powder. Wei Zhentian doubtfully swallowed it. It sensed that there was no effect at all. Immediately, it reached out and asked for the remaining high-grade earthly tool. Alright, little foodie, take it. Yi Xian immediately exchanged for 29 high-grade earthly artifacts. This little thing had to eat 150 devour crystals a day. If he didn't find a way to earn money, he would become poor. The little thing finished all the food in a few bites and then requested to return to the devouring space to rest. Yi Xian was also speechless, but this time he directly put the little thing into his storage space. He had just exchanged for this monster space. As long as the monster space stayed inside, it would grow faster than outside. Now, the matter of the Heavenly Yuan sect had come to an end. After Mo Ziyun and the others returned to the Soaring Heaven Mansion, they organized the disciples and prepared to rebuild the Heavenly Yuan sect. This time, the Heavenly Yuan sect had obtained a lot of mystical beast cores. The entire sect's rank would probably increase by a lot. However, when it came to inner cores, the Soaring Heaven Mansion had a lot of them. It was enough to help all the mortal core disciples in the Soaring Heaven Mansion break through to the Earth core realm. The Heavenly Yuan sect was very busy, and so was the Soaring Heaven Mansion. However, Yi Xian was the one with the least amount of free time. Just a week after he returned, Grand Elder Zhou Yan took the time to look for him. Supreme Elder, why are you here? Yi Xian was playing with Wei Zhentian in the courtyard. When he saw Zhou Yan, he was a little surprised. This old man is here to tell you that Kai Jing and the others have come out of seclusion. Zhou Yan said straightforwardly. What? They have come out? Yi Xian was overjoyed when he heard this. The siblings had been in seclusion for so long, and they had finally come out. But they are still consolidating their cultivation, so they might need some time. Come with me. After Zhou Yan finished speaking, He led Yi Xian towards the soaring heaven peak. When Yi Xian arrived at the door of Zhou Yan's cultivation room, he was stunned. Right at this moment, one side of the cultivation room's door was frozen, and the other side was burning red. Looked very strange. While they are consolidating their cultivation, you shouldn't go in. The energy inside is very strange. I was almost blown away just now. You should wait for them to come out by themselves. Zhou Yan said in a somewhat ashamed manner. He was a heavenly core warrior, but he was almost blown away just because he opened a door. If this were to spread out, it would be a disgrace to his reputation. All right. Yi Xian naturally wouldn't disturb them. Sigh. I'm ashamed. I still need a few more days before I can break through to the initial heavenly core realm, but they are already at the heavenly core realm as well. Zhou Yan said with a helpless expression. They are already at the heavenly core realm? After hearing what Zhou Yan said, Yi Xian also had a helpless expression on his face. He was only at the late earth core realm, but Song Suijing and Song Jeju were already at the heavenly core realm. But this wasn't a bad thing, since the difference in strength wasn't too big, he would be able to bring Song Suijing with him in the future. Both men waited outside the door for half a day. After that, the cultivation room's door finally opened. Crack. The cultivation room's door opened, and two figures walked out from within. Yi Xian. Song Suijing, who had just come out from the special cultivation room, immediately saw Yi Xian. Without hesitation, she jumped into his arms. You've been cultivating for so long, you should be tired, right? Yi Xian gently stroked Song Suijing's hair. Have we been cultivating for a long time? Song Suijing asked in a surprised manner. It's been more than a month. Zhou Yan reminded her. It's been so long. Song Suijing turned around and looked at Song Jeju. She felt like only 1 or 2 days had passed. All right, since you've come out from your secluded cultivation, it's time for me to enter secluded cultivation. After saying that, Zhou Yan entered another cultivation room. He had absorbed a lot of inner cores, and in a few more days he would be able to break through to the minor heavenly core realm. Song Jeju sensed his strength, and he realized that his strength was a few hundred times stronger than before, and his physique had improved as well. He couldn't help but say, I thought the divine core realm was very strong, but I never expected that I would break through to the heavenly core realm so quickly. This is incredible. Right at this moment, Yi Xian suddenly recalled something. Then he asked, Oh right, big brother, are you going to use an axe as your weapon from now on? That's right, I've used other weapons before, but the axe is still the best. Besides, look at my body. Do you think it's suitable for me to use a sword? Song Jeju nodded his head. If that's the case, I have a bloodline seed here, you can try it. Yi Xian took out a crystal clear bloodline seed. This was the Axe King bloodline he had exchanged for on the spot, and it had the same effect as the Sword Emperor bloodline. This is Chapter 311. The brother and sister duo had come out of seclusion. I found this bloodline seed by accident. It was left behind by a senior who was proficient in axe skills. Yi Xian handed it over to Song Ju. When Judge Song heard about the bloodline seed, he was startled for 2 seconds. Haha, thank you, brother-in-law. Without thinking too much, he immediately swallowed the bloodline seed. A second later, his eyes opened wide and he took out a long axe that was taller than him. This is amazing. I feel like this earth-shattering axe has become a part of my body, and I've learned a mid-ranked earth-rank martial skill. Judge Song held the long axe and practiced it. Without hesitation, Yi Xian exchanged for a high-ranked earth-rank long axe and said, Big brother, this is a high-ranked earth-rank weapon, the Flaming Sun Axe. Also, these are the high-ranked earth-rank martial skills I found. You can take them all. This? Judge Song couldn't wrap his head around this. It was fine if it was just a bloodline seed, but now there was even a high-grade earth-level martial art and a high-grade earth-level artifact. What had happened in the past month? Just what had happened? Judge Song, these are yours. After Yi Xian passed the items to Judge Song, he took out some other items. A normal high-grade earthly artifact was only worth 5 Devour crystals. However, the one he had just exchanged for was the best of the high-grade earthly artifacts. It was the closest to a celestial artifact. The axe and sword had cost him a total of 500 Devour crystals. Looks like a lot of things have happened in the past month. You need to tell me everything later? Song Suijing was still worried, but when she saw that Yi Xian was fine, she was relieved. Don't worry, there are still some good things. Yi Xian said with a smile on his face. He took out some more inner cores and said, Both of you have broken through to the heavenly core realm. Here are some inner cores of early heavenly core realm inner cores. Cough, both of us have just broken through. We need some time to consolidate our cultivation. If we want to absorb the inner cores, we need to wait for a while. Judge Song quickly said. It doesn't matter. Keep it for now. When the time comes, you can refine it on your own. Yi Xian divided the Xian beast inner core into 2 portions. That's good, then I won't disturb you. I'm going to try out my new weapon. Zhu Song carried the flaming sun axe and excitedly left. As for Song Suijing, she followed Yi Xian back to her residence. The two sat in the courtyard, and Song Suijing began to talk about her experiences over the past month. You said you subdued a rock spirit. Where is it? Song Suijing asked curiously. Without another word, Yi Xian directly pulled Megatron out of the artifact space and said, "This is the one. It swallowed so many of my things that I almost can't raise it anymore." Hey, why is it a kitten? Song Suijing was also surprised to see Ling. When Yi Xian heard this, he shifted his gaze. In the next moment, he turned pale with fright. They saw a small green cat sitting cross-legged on the stone table, blinking its big eyes at the two of them. Damn, could it have evolved? Yi Xian hurriedly pulled out the artifact panel and found that Ling, Megatron Jintian, was already at the peak of true profound realm and was about to become a profound beast. Meow, the green cat softly called out, then suddenly collapsed and reassembled in front of the two of them, turning into an elk. Damn, it's really a transformer. It can actually reassemble like the Bahuang sword. Yi Xian was shocked. If this was the case, then it might be able to turn into a rock in the future. At that time he could sit and fly. Song Suijing looked at the mini elk with shining eyes and said, "Is it the rock spirit? How can it change back and forth? Can it turn into an arrow-back pig?" When the rock spirit heard this, it blinked and immediately transformed again. It really turned into an arrow-back pig, but it was a mini version. So cute, what's its name? Song Suijing held the arrow-back pig in the palm of her hand and asked curiously. Megatron. Yi Xian said awkwardly. This world didn't have any transformers, so he definitely hadn't heard of it. Then let's call it Little Tian. Little Tian, can you turn back into your original form? Song Suijing asked again. Then the arrow-back pig transformed again and returned to its original appearance of a nut that was bitten by a zombie. It had 2 thin arms and 2 thin legs. At this time, it suddenly stretched out its hand and faced Yi Xian. Damn, didn't I just give it to you this morning? What performance fee? Yi Xian was speechless. This was really a foodie. He immediately took out 2 high-rank earthly artifacts and Megatron swallowed them in front of the two of them. It eats these? Song Suijing was almost scared to death. Those were 2 high-rank earthly artifacts. Yes, it eats 30 of them a day. Yi Xian nodded. 30 of them. Earthly artifacts. Song Suijing rolled her eyes. 1 high-rank earthly artifact was enough to buy the entire Great Song dynasty. 30 of them were enough to buy the entire eastern region, or even the 4 major regions. Most importantly, this was Megatron's food fee for a day. You little thing, you're already a peak true profound realm spirit beast. If you break through again, you'll become a profound beast. But you won't always be this small, right? Yi Xian asked. Megatron shook its head, then it jumped to the ground and shattered into countless small powder. The next scene made Yi Xian and Song Suijing dumbstruck. They saw Megatron's small powder slowly expand. In the blink of an eye, it became the size of a soccer ball, then the size of a stone table. Yi Xian quickly added, "Let me see your biggest form." Megatron heard this and started to expand crazily. In the end, it condensed into a 10-meter-tall giant. The 10-meter-tall giant seemed to be a profound Earth Core Realm green source giant. "Can you turn into a rock and fly?" Yi Xian asked again. In the next moment, the green source giant disintegrated and turned into a rock with a wingspan of 10 meters. It flew a circle in the sky. Not bad. Its speed has already surpassed an ordinary soaring sky rock. If it grows one more time, it will become a profound beast. Yi Xian nodded satisfyingly. It seemed like he was really lucky this time. In just a week, Megatron almost broke through to the profound beast realm. If he was given a month, wouldn't he at least reach the Earth Core realm? If he was given a year, wouldn't he be able to break through to the Flying Dragon realm? The rock spirit turned into a green rock and immediately attracted the attention of the other disciples. What kind of spirit beast is that? A green rock? How come I've never heard of it before? I heard that it's a spirit beast that senior brother Yi tamed. I thought he was a green rock spirit just now. How did he turn into a rock? Let's just focus on our cultivation. Senior brother Yi can already kill heavenly core warriors, and we haven't even broken through to the Earth Core realm yet. Let's go, let's go. A group of disciples were discussing among themselves. Chapter 3:12. Trash that can't be raised. Currently, the structure of the soaring heaven mansion was going to change. The 4 manners might merge into one. After all, with so many inner cores, anyone would be able to break through to the divine core realm. However, right at this moment, suddenly a figure arrived at the door. Yi Xian, are you here? A voice came from outside the door. When Yi Xian heard it, he was surprised because it was the voice of the chief of the Divine Prefecture Alliance, Zheng Miao. Senior disciple Zheng, please come in. Yi Xian shouted. Zheng Miao hastily walked in from the outside. Senior disciple Zheng, how is Guangjin City? Yi Xian hastily asked. He knew that the reason why Zheng Miao came back to the Soaring Heaven Mansion was because of Guangjin City. Hearing this, Zheng Miao shook his head and said, not good that Cui Linjiang has returned to the central province and soon he will compete with us for the position of Guangjin City's mayor. Senior disciple Zheng, can the mayor of the upper three cities compete for the position? Yi Xian was surprised. No, Cui Linjiang is the mayor of Sun Hill City, he won't compete for the position, but his father will. Zheng Miao shook his head and said, Cui Linjiang's father? Yi Xian was startled. Perhaps only a late heavenly core warrior could make Zheng Miao fear him. After the mayor of Guangjin City died, the first city mayor sent someone to stay in the mayor's mansion. Anyone can apply to compete for the position of mayor. Right now, more than 10 early heavenly core warriors have applied, including those from the upper three cities. Besides Cui Linjiang, there is another late heavenly core warrior. Zheng Miao started explaining to Yi Xian. 2 late heavenly core warriors? Yi Xian squinted his eyes. These were all the top warriors in the heavenly water continent. But when he heard that more than 10 early heavenly core warriors had joined the competition, his eyes lit up. Originally, he thought whoever arrived at the mayor's mansion first would get the position, but he didn't expect that he would need to apply. Looking at this, he might be able to get some benefits. Senior Marshal Brother Zheng, the purpose of your visit is? Yi Xian asked again. My grandfather wants your help. If we succeed in taking down Guangjin City, we will split the profits in half. Zheng Miao said. A 50-50 split would make it 50-50. The benefits of Guangjin City might not be high, but all the cities within Guangjin City's territory had to pay taxes to Guangjin City every year. Moreover, Yuan Yibo definitely had many private mines and treasure lands. If they were all mined, the value would be immeasurable. Alright, I agree. Yi Xian nodded. At this moment, Song Suijing also hurriedly said, I want to go too. And ask your elder brother to join us as well. We can use this opportunity to gain some experience. I want to see how strong all of you are now after breaking through to the heavenly core realm. Yi Xian nodded his head. From the moment she entered the room, Zheng Miao felt that Song Suijing was extraordinary. Now that she heard Yi Xian's words, she was stunned. Heavenly core realm. If that young master Yang Ling was in front of Song Suijing, he would be nothing more than an ant. Without hesitation, Song Suijing left and went to look for Adjudicator Song. The mayor's battle was about to begin, and they had to hurry to the central province. Very soon, Adjudicator Song also rushed over. He was worried about not having a place to gain experience. Zheng Miao rode a soaring cloud bird here, so it only took them a day to travel from the soaring cloud mansion to the central province city. Right at this moment, Zheng Shuahai and the other men were having a discussion in the main hall. When they saw Zheng Miao and Yi Xian, they immediately stood up. Little brother Yi, you're finally here. Zheng Shuahai quickly walked over and greeted them. Yi Xian walked closer and found out that Zheng Yu and another middle-aged man had both broken through to the early heavenly core realm. He immediately congratulated them. Congratulations, seniors. This is all thanks to those refined pills you gave me. Too bad, there are only 7 days left until the mayor's battle, and I won't be able to break through to the late heavenly core realm in 7 days. Zheng Shuahai shook his head. After that, he looked at Song Suijing and Adjudicator Song who were standing behind Yi Xian, then he asked, These two are? This is my fiancé, Song Suijing, and this is my elder brother, Adjudicator Song. He should be able to fight with an early heavenly core warrior, and he will be joining the battle with me. Yi Xian introduced them to each other. Aha, this old man thanks you. Zheng Shuahai expressed his gratitude. Senior, you're too kind. Song Suijing smiled. She was really happy because this time she could finally help Yi Xian. Little brother Yi, why don't we go to the #1 main city now? Zheng Shuahai asked again. All right. Yi Xian nodded his head. After that, they sat on the soaring cloud bird and headed towards the center of the central province city, the #1 main city. Right at this moment, all the powerful warriors in the central province city had gathered there. A main city's mayor was extremely powerful, and it had attracted a huge amount of people, including some sects and families in the central province city, and even some lone warriors with extraordinary strength. Of course, some of them weren't here to fight for the position of mayor, they were here to gain benefits from the mayor battle. This time, it took the soaring cloud bird an entire day to arrive at the number 1 main city. The number 1 main city had a city wall that was over 10,000 meters long, and countless people lived within it. At the same time, there was a special rule, and that was that no birds or beasts were allowed to fly over the number 1 main city. Because of this rule, the soaring cloud bird could only land outside the number 1 main city. After that, Xianxia led Yi Xian through the noisy streets and arrived at the mayor's mansion. So this is the number 1 main city's mayor's mansion? That Yang Kai is a strength realm warrior, then the mayor of the number 1 main city should be at least at the strength realm, right? Yi Xian murmured in his mind. It was very easy to apply for the mayor battle. Anyone could apply even if they were at the true spirit realm. After the application was completed, Yi Xian and the other two received an identity token. After 6 days they would gather at the designated location, and someone would escort them to the location of the mayor battle. On the way to the number 1 main city, Zheng Shuahai explained the format of the mayor battle to Yi Xian and the other two, which was to compete for the city mayor's token. The number 1 city mayor would hide the Guangjin city mayor's token somewhere. As long as someone found this token and held it for a period of time, they would be the new city mayor. In addition, there were no restrictions on killing, and they could do as they pleased. However, just as Yi Xian and the others left the number 1 main city's mansion, they bumped into another group of people. The leader of this group was someone Yi Xian was familiar with. He was Sun Hill City's city mayor, Cui Linjiang. Enemies are bound to meet on a narrow road, Yi Xian subconsciously said. Cui Linjiang looked at Yi Xian and the others, then he coldly harumphed and said, I let you live last time and I thought you'd struggle to survive. I didn't expect you to come and help Divine Land City. In a few more days you'll die. Right at this moment, an old man walked out from behind him and said, He's the guy who killed 4 early Heavenly Core warriors from Sun Hill City? Chapter 313. First main city father, that's him. Cui Linjiang nodded his head. Fine, I'll remember that. When the time comes I'll kill you myself. A killing intent flashed through the old man's eyes. He was Cui Linjiang's father, the old mayor of Sun Hill City, Cui Feng. Just as Zheng Shuahai and the others were about to retort, Song Suijing, who was standing next to Yi Xian, suddenly took a step forward and let out a cold snort. Old man, don't rely on your old age, don't let Yi Xian break all your bones when the time comes. Seeing Yi Xian being ridiculed, of course she couldn't stand it anymore. Little girl, you've got a big mouth. You better not fall into my hands or else I'll make you wish you were dead. Cui Feng's eyes once again flashed with a ruthless expression. After that, he led the others and walked into the mayor's mansion in the first main city. This Cui family is really something. They even managed to recruit the 3 freaks of Secluded Mountain. Looks like they are determined to take over Guangjin City, Zheng Shuahai said. The 3 freaks of Secluded Mountain were the 3 masked men behind Cui Linjiang, and they were all at the early Heavenly Core realm. Xia Hui, Ding Tao, and the other 3 were all dead, and in just a few days the Sun Hill City had recruited another 3 early Heavenly Core warriors, and they were all famous warriors in the Central Province. This had caused the Divine Land City to feel pressured. However, Yi Xian, who was standing there quietly, had a relaxed expression on his face. So what if they were 3 early Heavenly Core warriors? If he ran into them they would all end up the same. After that, Zheng Shuahai and the others brought Yi Xian to their mansion in the first main city, so that Yi Xian could have a good rest. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Song Suijing and Judge Song continued to learn upper-rank Earth-rank martial skills. They didn't have the devouring system, so they needed time to learn martial skills. However, with the bloodline of the Sword Emperor and their father, it was very easy for them to learn martial skills. Apart from the corresponding offensive martial skills, their understanding of other martial skills was very ordinary. At the same time, Yi Xian also took advantage of these few days to stroll around the first main city. He discovered that in the first main city's weapon shops, other than selling low-grade earth weapons, there wasn't even a mid-grade earth weapon, let alone a high-grade earth weapon. It seemed that the weapons in the first main city were all monopolized by the All Affairs Pavilion and given priority to those clans and sections. There were still a few days before the slot battle, so Yi Xian wanted to take advantage of this opportunity to improve his strength. Simply put, it was to make money. In the All Affairs Pavilion, as long as one could afford it, they could do all kinds of things. In addition to killing people and searching for people, there were also things to do. Yi Xian immediately went to look for him. The Myriad Pavilion in the number 1 main city was the largest in the entire central state. As soon as Yi Xian entered, a waiter led Yi Xian to a private room. I need some forging materials. Medium and high-grade earth-tier materials. I need at least 10 million top-grade crystals. How many do you have? Yixian got straight to the point. 10 million top-grade crystals. The waiter was stunned. Thinking that he had encountered a big order, he hurriedly said, "Your Excellency, please wait a moment." He left in a hurry. Not long after, he came back with another person. Yixian happened to see this person before. It was the first main city's vice city lord Yang Kai. "Chem? It's you?" After Yang Kai saw Yixian was more or less surprised. "Senior, we meet again." Yixian was also surprised. "You need a lot of forging materials?" Yang Kai also got straight to the point. "Yes, a lot," Yixian nodded. Yang Kai didn't talk nonsense and directly took out some forging materials, asking, "How many do you need?" "I'll take as many as you have," Yixian replied. He really had an infinite demand for forging materials. He only needed to think about it and he could succeed. As for the remaining materials, he could also give them to Wei Zhentian as snacks. "Okay, since you need a lot, I can give you according to the market price." Yang Kai directly calculated and then reported a number: 13 million top-quality crystal stones. Yixian took out this number of top-grade crystals and completed the transaction. "Also, City Lord Yang, do you also accept mid-rank or high-rank earth artifacts?" Yixian asked again. "Yes, mid-rank earth artifacts cost 600 top-grade crystals and high-rank earth artifacts cost 60,000. Of course, it depends on the quality." Yang Kai narrowed his eyes and began to calculate a large amount of Yixian. "I see. Then I'll take my leave." After Yixian finished speaking, he directly left. Yang Kai looked at Yixian's departing back and muttered in his heart, "I wonder why City Lord is so interested in this little brat." After leaving Myriad Pavilion, Yixian returned to his residence. With the 13 million top-grade crystals, he estimated that he could forge at least 300 high-rank earth artifacts and 20,000 mid-rank earth artifacts. If he sold them, he would make double the profit. Unfortunately, there were not many materials. He directly finished forging everything in a small alley and then returned to Myriad Pavilion. It just so happened that Yang Kai was in the hall. "Little brother, do you need anything else?" Yang Kai asked in surprise when he saw Yixian return. "I brought a batch of high-rank earth artifacts," Yixian nodded. Yang Kai was shocked and hurriedly led Yixian to a side room. 300 high-rank earth artifacts, 20,000 mid-rank earth artifacts, high quality? Yang Kai was shocked. When he saw the name on the hilt of these earth artifacts, he exclaimed, "Yixian. Oh, my family will always put my name on the artifacts after they are forged." Yixian hurriedly explained. If he told Yang Kai that he had forged so many earth artifacts in 1 minute, the Strength Realm Master would definitely be shocked to death. "I didn't expect that in addition to the 3 blacksmiths in the upper 3 cities, there would be another master. Okay, I'll buy all of these earth artifacts at the same price as before." Yang Kai directly took out 30 million top-quality crystal stones. Yixian accepted it with a smile and completed the transaction, earning a net profit of 17 million top-quality crystal stones and 30 million top-quality crystal stones cultivation base. After the transaction was completed, he said, "City Lord Yang, I still need some things." "What do you need?" "Just tell me," Yang Kai said. "Celestial blue stone, dragon jade." Yixian said a lot of things at once. "You want to forge a heaven artifact?" Yang Kai instantly understood. "And the elders of my family want to practice. In addition, they need a heaven-grade martial art. I wonder if Myriad Pavilion has any?" Yixian nodded. "We have a little celestial blue stone and dragon jade, but we don't have any other materials. As for heaven-grade martial arts, we don't have any," Yang Kai replied. At this time, Yixian realized that even if Myriad Pavilion had a heaven-grade martial art, he probably couldn't afford it. This was definitely not something that could be bought with a few thousand or 10,000 spirit stones. "Then I also need some alchemy materials." Chapter 314. The day before the competition this time, Yixian stayed in the Myriad Pavilion for half an hour. He had too many ways to earn money, so he could only choose some common materials to refine. A day later, he brought the pills to the Myriad Pavilion again. At the same time, he also took out some treasures he had exchanged for. Yang Kai had high hopes for these treasures, but unfortunately, there was a limit to how much they could be exchanged for. In the end, Yixian only earned 100 million top-quality crystal stones. Although it wasn't much, it still brought him one step closer to the heavenly core realm. However, if he wanted to become the city lord of Guangjin City, he would need to at least break through to the heavenly core realm. Therefore, he went to the Myriad Pavilion again the day before the city lord competition. This time he wanted something different. He found Yang Kai. "Yixian, what do you want this time?" Yang Kai asked. This time, It's a bloodline seed I found in a senior's cave mansion. Yi Xian took out a crystal-clear seed and handed it over to Yang Kai. A bloodline seed. When these 4 words entered Yang Kai's ears, it caused his body to tremble violently. With his current realm, he could condense everything he had learned into a bloodline seed, but the price he had to pay was that he would become an ordinary person. What are the effects of these bloodline seeds? Yang Kai asked. This bloodline seed can increase one's comprehension of sword-type martial arts by 10%, as well as increase one's strength by 10%. This one is of a higher grade, it can increase one's comprehension by 20%. Yi Xian handed over another bloodline seed. Hearing this, Yang Kai asked in shock, "This isn't a martial arts seed?" "No, this is a special bloodline seed. City Lord Yang might not have heard of it before, but it does have such an effect." Yi Xian nodded. Yang Kai went silent. This was the first time he had seen this type of bloodline seed, so he couldn't help but be a little skeptical. "If City Lord Yang doesn't believe me, you can find someone else. I can use this 10% bloodline seed as an experiment." Yi Xian endured the pain and said, "No need, I'll experiment on my own. First, tell me how much do you want for these 2 bloodline seeds?" Yang Kai suddenly asked. In fact, he was also a sword user. If he could increase the power of his sword skills by 20%, it would be a huge boost to his strength. "City Lord Yang, how much do you think it is?" Yi Xian asked in return. "If it really has the effect you say it does, I think that this 10% crystal is worth at least 100 million top-quality crystal stones, and this 20% crystal is probably worth more than 300 million top-quality crystal stones," Yang Kai estimated in his heart. Of course, this was the price on the Skywater continent. If it was the Bloodstone continent, it would be more than that. "Sure." Yi Xian nodded. 400 million high-quality crystal stones was more than enough for him to break through to the Heavenly Core realm. In fact, he really didn't want to give away the bloodlines of the swordsman and swordsman. After all, he could give them to his friends in the future. "Alright, then I'll test it out myself." Yang Kai took Yi Xian and left. Arriving at the back of the Myriad Pavilion, he swallowed the Sword Master bloodline. Immediately after, 2 golden rays of light shot out from his eyes. Swoosh! Yang Kai took out a long sword and slashed towards the sky. A warrior at his level had a deep understanding of his own martial arts. The power of this slash had indeed increased by 20% compared to before. "Good stuff." Yang Kai cried out in surprise. He turned around and asked, "Yi Xian, if I swallow this 10% crystal stone, will it?" "No, it won't have any effect." Yi Xian shook his head. Apart from him, everyone could only have one bloodline. Although a sword master was the advanced version of a sword master, it still wouldn't work. "Alright, then I'll keep this one for Chen." Yang Kai kept the other bloodline seed, then he took out 400 million top-quality crystal stones and threw them to Yi Xian. When Yi Xian put away all the big treasure chests, his spirit shook. He could finally break through to the Heavenly Core realm. "Yi Xian, do you have any more of these bloodline seeds?" Yang Kai asked hastily. "I still have some." Yi Xian nodded. The reason why these bloodline seeds could be exchanged was because Yi Xian had fused with them before. In simple words, he couldn't exchange for bloodlines that hadn't been fused with before. Previously, when he gave Adjudicator Song the Axe King bloodline seed, he had already fused with the Axe King bloodline. For his brother-in-law, he had sacrificed a bloodline window. One had to know, with his current situation, he couldn't even afford a bloodline expansion window. When Yang Kai heard this, he immediately brought Yi Xian to his residence in the Myriad Pavilion. 100 Beast Bloodline, Wind-Chasing Leopard Bloodline, 100 Flower Bloodline, Sagittarius Bloodline. Yi Xian told Yang Kai the characteristics of these bloodlines one by one. This time he was going to spend a lot of money. When Yang Kai heard about the characteristics of these bloodlines, he was already thinking about how many top-quality crystal stones he would have to spend to buy them. However, he was also thinking that no matter how much he had to spend, he had to buy them all. If he sold them, he would definitely be able to get back what he had invested, and he would also be able to make a huge profit. This time they talked for a full 2 hours. In the end, they decided on a price, 10 billion top-quality crystal stones. After reaching an agreement, Yang Kai took out some purplish-black stones and said, "These are soul-condensing stones. They are the currency used by Spirit Realm 4th stage powerhouses. 1 stone is equivalent to 100 million high-grade crystal stones. Here are 100 stones." Yi Xian took the soul-congealing stones and asked in confusion, "Why are these things used as currency?" "Because Spirit Realm experts need to use these soul-congealing stones to cultivate. Every time I refine one, my soul strength will increase by a bit, and my strength will also increase accordingly." Yang Kai explained. Is that so? Yi Xian took a soul-congealing stone and put it into his devouring space, then started devouring it. According to the increase in core, he could tell that this soul-congealing stone was equivalent to 100 million top-quality crystal stones. Then thank you, Mayor Yang. Yi Xian put away the remaining 99 soul-congealing stones. Before this, he was worried about where he could find soul-congealing stones, but he didn't expect them to be the currency used between spirit realm experts. If this was the case, Song Suijing and Judge Song wouldn't have to worry about being stuck at the late Heavenly Core realm. Oh right, you're going to participate in the Guangjin City Lord battle tomorrow, right? Yang Kai suddenly asked. Yes. Yi Xian nodded his head. Then you better be careful. From what I know, the 3 old city lords of the upper 3 cities have all applied for the City Lord battle. Although they are restricted from fighting outside, they won't be restricted in the City Lord battle. Furthermore, there will be a large number of Heavenly Core warriors. Yang Kai reminded. Yi Xian thanked. I will. The 3 old city lords of the upper 3 cities? So what? Once he broke through to the Heavenly Core realm, all of them would be hung up and beaten. Chapter 315. Island of Death. After leaving the Myriad Pavilion, Yi Xian returned to his own place. Song Suijing and Judge Song were still practicing their martial arts, while he locked himself in his room. He took out a soul-congealing stone and started devouring it. Devour. Ding, the host has broken through to the Heavenly Core realm. After he had devoured 5 soul-congealing stones, he finally heard the system's notification. Heavenly Core realm, he had finally broken through. Cui Feng, I hope you don't run into me, if not, you'll die a horrible death. Yi Xian murmured in his mind. He still remembered the way Cui Feng talked to Song Suijing a few days ago. As a man who would seek revenge for the smallest grievance, how could he not take revenge? Slap slap. Right after he broke through, Wei Zhentian, who was beside him, climbed onto his shoulder and kept patting him. What are you doing? You want to eat it too? Yi Xian took out a soul-congealing stone. Wei Zhentian nodded his head. I can't give this to you, I'm going to devour it myself. Wait a moment. Yi Xian devoured the rest of the soul-congealing stones. After calculating, he had devoured a total of 100 soul-congealing stones. Right now, he had more than 1 million soul-congealing stones. Then he very generously exchanged 10,000 earthly weapons, which filled the entire room to the brim. When Wei Zhentian saw this, he immediately leapt towards them and started devouring them like crazy. Sigh. 100 soul-congealing stones, just a little more and I'll be able to break through to the initial Heavenly Core realm. Forget it, I'll wait until the mayor competition. Yi Xian shook his head. He estimated that if nothing unexpected happened, they would have no problem taking over Guangjin City. A day passed by in a flash. When the second day arrived, everyone in the Divine Land City had gathered. Yi Xian and the other 2 were among the crowd as well. After that, they headed towards the mayor's mansion. When they arrived in front of the mayor's mansion, they saw hundreds of people who were interested in Guangjin City. So many. All of them are at least at the Heavenly Core realm. I never expected there to be so many great warriors in the central province. Song Suijing couldn't help but sigh. There are a lot of experts from the 7 main cities. It seems that there are more than 200 people. Judge Song also felt the pressure. Zheng Shuahai also said helplessly, with so many people, it seems like there will be a bloody storm. Moreover, I'm afraid that the large group will be separated and carried out in small groups. Working in small groups? Yi Xian turned around. I remember that there was once a battle for the position of City Lord. At most, they would form a group of 3 and then be assigned to other places. If that's the case, we'll have to be separated, Zheng Shuahai explained. Oh, I see. Yi Xian nodded. If it was a group of 3, then he could guarantee that Song Suijing and Adjudicator Song would be by his side. Right at this moment, Zheng Shuahai suddenly saw some people in the crowd. He immediately whispered, besides Cui Feng from the Sun Hill City, the other 2 city lords from the upper 3 cities are here as well. This is really troublesome. Everyone followed his gaze and they saw 2 old men. Both of them had ordinary looks, but they were both late Heavenly Core warriors, and they were only 1 step away from breaking through to the 4th stage of the spirit realm. Perhaps, if they could obtain some soul-condensing pills, they would be able to break through to the spirit realm. However, not many people knew that soul-condensing pills were required to break through to the 4th realm of the spirit realm from the Divine Core realm. They all thought that it was just a normal breakthrough. Yi Xian, who was quietly standing there, suddenly felt something strange. He turned his head to look and discovered that Cui Feng from Yangling City was looking at them. His old eyes were filled with viciousness. If the men from the Divine Land City and Sun Hill City were to bump into each other, a fight would definitely break out. Everyone waited for a while, then more and more people arrived. Finally, a cloud suddenly appeared in the sky, blocking the sunlight. "Ah, look!" someone cried out in surprise. Everyone raised their heads and saw that it wasn't a cloud that was blocking the sunlight, it was a big guy. "It's the Vice City Lord's heavenly core blue moon bird." Someone immediately recognized it. Yixian raised his head as well. Now he wasn't envious of those flying mounts because he had one too. After eating 10,000 high-rank earth weapons, Wei Zhenqian had broken through to the earth core realm. If Yixian wanted to, he could directly help Wei Zhenqian break through to the heavenly core realm. However, there was a small rule in the mayor's competition: no Xian beasts were allowed to participate. "Everyone get on my back." A middle-aged man on the blue moon bird shouted out. While he was speaking, the blue moon bird slowly descended. "It's the Vice City Lord." After some people recognized him, they immediately jumped onto the back of the blue moon bird. In less than 10 seconds, more than 200 people had jumped onto the back of the bird. After that, Yang Kai checked everyone's identity, then ordered the blue moon bird to fly. "Vice City Lord, where are we going now?" someone asked curiously. Yang Kai slowly replied, "Out to sea." What? When these words came out, everyone on the back of the blue moon bird was shocked. Wasn't it taking place on land? After a day they finally understood. It turned out that they were on an island near the heavenly water continent. None of them had ever been to this island before. However, some of them had heard of it before. Vice City Lord, don't tell me this is the Death Island?" someone asked timidly. "What? Death Island?" When they heard this name, many people immediately cried out in surprise. Yixian also asked Zheng Shuahai in surprise, "Senior, what is this Death Island?" "This." Zheng Shuahai swallowed his saliva and said, "I thought this Death Island was just a legend. The reason why this island is called Death Island is because there is a Saint Beast on this island." "Saint Beast?" Song Suijing was startled. "Then if we go up there, won't we just be sending ourselves to our deaths?" "I'm not sure either." Zheng Shuahai shook his head. At this moment, Yang Kai, who was standing on the head of the blue moon bird, suddenly turned his head and said, "Yes, this is the Death Island. In the middle of this island, there is a Strength Realm Blue Sea Flood Dragon. If any of you want to back out, you can say so now. If you suddenly change your mind, then you will have to swim back to the heavenly water continent by yourself." Everyone hesitated. This was a saint beast that could easily tear everyone here to pieces. However, they suddenly remembered that Vice City Lord Yang Kai didn't seem to be very fierce, so they thought that the Blue Sea Flood Dragon might be in a deep sleep. As long as they didn't make too much noise, it wouldn't be disturbed. Therefore no one wanted to back out. "Very good. Since no one wants to back out, then you can divide yourselves into groups. Each group can have a maximum of 3 people. After that, come and draw lots. When the time comes, I will put you on the island in order," Yang Kai said slowly. Chapter 316. Begin. 31. Yang Kai noted it down. There were more than 200 good people here, and there would definitely be some who were in groups of 2 or 1, but Yang Kai didn't care. Yixian and the others also walked over. Among them, Zheng Shuahai was in a group with his son, Jianghu, and the other 3 who had just broken through to the heavenly core realm were in another group. As for Yixian, he was in a group with Song Suijing and Adjudicator Song. Number 1. When Yixian saw the number on the piece of paper he had drawn, he couldn't help but feel speechless. "Yeah, our luck is really good," Song Suijing said with a smile. Although she was shocked that there was a saint beast on this island, as long as Yixian was here, even if there were 10 saint beasts on this island, she wouldn't be afraid. "Not bad, the first group to arrive on the island first, so you can go and find the City Lord's token first," Yang Kai said with a smile. Yixian let out a hollow laugh. Although he said so, who knew if they would be the first to die? After drawing their lots, they all retreated. Soon, everyone had finished drawing their lots. There were more than 100 groups out of the 210 people. Of course, some of the numbers were empty because Yang Kai had prepared 200 lots. "That Chui Feng is number 99, he is a bit far from us," Yixian thought to himself. He had secretly noted down some people's numbers just now. Not only that, Zheng Shuahai's group was also quite far away, so they had to rely on themselves. While they were drawing lots, the island was getting bigger and bigger. Finally, the blue moon bird stopped 1,000 meters away from the island. "Listen carefully to what I'm going to say next," Yang Kai suddenly said in a loud voice. "There aren't many rules in the City Lord battle. First, originally, no Shen beasts are allowed to help, but since you're riding on my blue moon bird this time, this rule has been removed. Second, there are no restrictions on killing on this island. If anyone wants to leave, they can jump into the sea and swim back. Third, when someone finds the City Lord's token, it will immediately release a purple light that soars into the sky. Moreover, it will release once every 10 minutes. As long as someone holds the City Lord's token for 2 hours, he will be the new City Lord of Guangjin City, and the contest will end there. Fourthly, there is a Strength Realm Sacred Beast, Oceanic Flood Dragon, in the center of the island. I don't know if it is sleeping or not. So, if you don't want to die, it's best not to make too much of a commotion in the center of the island. That's all I have to say. Now we'll proceed according to the order. If anyone wishes to forfeit, feel free to say so. I can send you back. After Yang Kai finished speaking, he ordered the Blue Moon Bird to approach the island. But at this moment, rumble. Suddenly, a loud rumbling sound came from the horizon. Everyone turned their heads and saw a flood dragon emerging from the depths of the sea. It flipped over and dived back into the sea. Immediately there was an uproar. Rest assured, it's not the flood dragon on the island, but I can remind you that there are many profound beasts in this sea, so it's not too late for you to give up now, Yang Kai reminded again. But still no one said anything. So what if it was a profound beast? All those who came here were at least at the heavenly core realm. Besides, humans were so small, as long as they weren't injured, they wouldn't attract the attention of the profound beasts in the deep sea. The Blue Moon Bird flew forward for a while. Yang Kai looked at Yi Xian and the other two and said, "Group number 1, I wish you all the best." Yi Xian nodded his head. After that, he jumped down with Song Suijing and the other two. It was only 100 meters in the air, it was a piece of cake for them. Zheng Shuahai, who was in the crowd, watched as Yi Xian and the other two left. He let out a sigh. He thought they were going to act together, but he didn't expect them to act in groups. At the same time, there was a figure who was looking at Yi Xian and the other two, but the look on his face was extremely vicious. He was the old city lord of Sun Hill City, Cui Feng. "Little brat, don't let me see you again, or else I'll skin you alive and kill your wife in front of you." Bang, bang, bang. On Death Island, 3 muffled sounds rang out. Yi Xian and the other two had successfully landed on the ground. After landing, Yi Xian raised his head and found that the Blue Moon Bird had already flown into the distance. "So this is Death Island?" "It's so ordinary," Song Suijing said with a relaxed expression. "Little girl, don't be careless. There is a mysterious beast within 100 meters of us that has its eyes on us," Yi Xian said with a smile. "Is that so? Then I'll make sure it doesn't return," Song Suijing giggled. She took out the high-rank earth artifact, Ice Moon Sword, and slashed in a certain direction. A light blue slash cut through the air. After cutting down 3 thick trees, it cut an Earth Core Realm leopard in half. "Not bad, so it was discovered long ago," Yi Xian nodded his head in satisfaction. Next to him, Judge Song also took out his 2-meter-long flaming sun axe and said, "Younger brother-in-law, I don't think you're here just for the mayor's medallion, right?" "Yes, all those who came here to fight for the mayor's medallion are Heavenly Core warriors. Their combined value is more than all the territories in the lower 3 cities, Yi Xian nodded his head and said, "All right, I'm ready for a big fight." Judge Song shook his axe. Ever since he had merged with the Axe King's bloodline, his confidence had increased tremendously. He really wanted to find a Heavenly Core warrior and fight him. Without hesitation, the 3 of them started moving towards the direction where the Blue Moon Bird had flown. Although this island was huge, there were more than 100 groups of people who were going to land. Therefore, if they kept moving towards the direction where the Blue Moon Bird had flown, they might be able to find the second group. They moved with great speed. All the mysterious beasts that blocked their path were killed by Song Suijing and Judge Song. As for the corpses, they were all devoured by Yi Xian. After walking for about 5 minutes, they finally found the second group. "Yi Xian, do you want to kill them?" Judge Song asked. "It's up to you whether you want to kill them or not. We're going to steal them anyway." Yi Xian replied. "In this world, if you don't kill someone, someone else will kill you. Let's just kill them. Where are they?" Judge Song made his decision. "This direction, about 1,000 meters away, there are 2 people. You can take one each." Yi Xian pointed in a direction. "All right, sister, let's go." Judge Song took out his flaming sun axe and took the lead. Song Suijing quickly followed behind. In order to ensure their safety, Yi Xian had to protect them from behind. A distance of 1,000 meters for these 2 Heavenly Core siblings, it took them less than 2 seconds to cross. Just as the 2 men in front of them realized what was going on, they were ambushed. Heaven-shaking slash. Judge Song immediately rushed forward and slashed at one of the middle-aged men. Song Suijing followed closely behind and slashed with his sword. Ambush. Both men immediately reacted. Judge Song's opponent was an early heavenly core warrior, and he was using a huge blade. He quickly raised his blade. Clang. Chapter 317. Experience. Although Judge Song had just broken through to the heavenly core realm, he was using a high-ranked earth-rank martial skill, and with the help of the Axe King's bloodline, this attack was not something an ordinary man could withstand. But this middle-aged man was at the initial heavenly core realm, and he was a body refiner. His strength was above Judge Song's, and both men were evenly matched. Indeed, he is weaker in terms of physique. But I'm not a pushover either. Overlord 36 slashes. Judge Song's eyes lit up, he raised the flaming sun axe and started slashing. On the other side, Song Suijing launched a sneak attack and killed the other heavenly core warrior in an instant. Right at this moment, she had already taken her opponent's storage ring. Brother, let me help you. Song Suijing held her long sword tightly and was about to step forward and help. No need, let me handle this myself. Judge Song replied. Stinking brat, you're really arrogant. You dare challenge me? You're courting death. When the middle-aged man saw his comrade being killed, he was extremely angry. He immediately turned his anger into strength and started fighting back. Both he and Judge Song were using large-sized weapons, and they were competing with each other in terms of strength. Although Judge Song's physique was weaker and his cultivation level was lower, he had the 30% boost from the Axe King's bloodline, and the flaming sun axe in his hand was a high-ranked earth-rank weapon. Therefore he was able to make up for the difference. Yi Xin, who do you think will win? Brother or that guy? Song Suijing couldn't help but ask. Brother's Overlord 36 slashes is one of the best earth-rank martial skills. With the Axe King's bloodline, he has a strong understanding of this martial skill. I think that guy will at most be able to last until the 18th slash. Yi Xin commented. Are you kidding me? When the middle-aged man heard this comment, he immediately shouted out loudly. But right at this moment, Judge Song's 18th slash landed. Crack. After a crisp sound, the middle-aged man was directly cleaved in half by the Overlord's 18 slashes. His high-rank earthly weapon was forcibly severed. Yi Xin and Song Suijing were both stunned. To be able to cut a high-grade earthly tool in half, just how powerful was that? Yi Xin had the myriad beast's bloodline. If he used the 8 desolate sword, he would be able to cut through a high-grade earthly weapon. However, Judge Song didn't have such a powerful physique. This is the Overlord's 36 slashes. It's an explosive martial skill. Combined with the flaming sun axe, that slash just now could have killed a green source giant at the early heavenly core realm. Yi Xin thought to himself in his mind. In any case, Judge Song's strength was not bad. Brother is indeed powerful. If I were to face him, I'm afraid it wouldn't be so easy to win, Song Suijing praised. Alas, it's a pity that my physique can't catch up with yours. I heard that the people of the central province have refined their physique for many years. Judge Song said helplessly. He took the other party's universe ring and threw it to Yi Xin. Don't worry, I have a great strength pill here. Eating one can temporarily double your strength. Yi Xin said with a smile. He took out a bottle of pills and threw it over to Judge Song. A mortal core great strength pill was worth 5 devour crystals. An earth core great strength pill was worth 10 times, which was 50 devour crystals. As for a heavenly core great strength pill, it was worth 500 devour crystals. This bottle of great strength pills was worth 5,000 devour crystals. But Yi Xin was a tycoon right now. He had 1 million devour crystals for him to spend, so 5,000 devour crystals was nothing to him. I never expected to find such a good item. But it's too boring to kill an opponent in an instant. I can't increase my strength, so I can only use it as a life-saving pill. Judge Song took the great strength pill and threw it into his universe ring. Of course. Yi Xin smiled. He took out the same bottle and gave it to Song Suijing. Besides that, he also exchanged some divine pills that could allow a heavenly core warrior to fully recover his core and gave them to both of them. In the fight just now, Judge Song had used up half of his core. Now that he had these recovery pills, he could finally go all out. After that, the three of them continued their journey looking for the third group. Along the way, Yi Xin checked the 2 universe rings. The middle-aged man who was cut in half by Judge Song just now was the sect chief of a sect in the central province, and he was quite rich. After absorbing the divine pills, there were about 20 million devour crystals, which was equivalent to 2,000 devour crystals. After running for a while, they finally met the third group. This group also consisted of 2 people. In order to increase his strength, Judge Song suggested not to ambush them, but to fight them head-on. Yo, it's the first group. TSK, I had my eyes on this little girl just now and I was thinking of looking for you guys. I didn't expect you to come knocking on my door. Let me see, she's still a virgin. Not bad, a good start. A lecherous middle-aged man stared at Song Suijing, who was slowly walking towards him. Judge Song's face darkened. Little sister, I'll leave this guy to you. Song Suijing nodded her head. She wouldn't show any mercy to a man who coveted her beauty. Since both of you are interested in each other, let's do it. Right after the lecherous middle-aged man finished his words, Judge Song held the flaming sun axe in his hand and dashed forward. The battle only lasted for a second. Both men had just broken through to the heavenly core realm, and they couldn't withstand a single attack from the brother and sister duo. Both of them were instantly killed. Although all those who participated in the mayor's competition were at least heavenly core warriors, most of them had just broken through to the heavenly core realm. There were only 20 early heavenly core warriors, and 3 late heavenly core warriors. If those who had just broken through to the heavenly core realm were to encounter Judge Song and Song Suijing, they would be instantly killed. As for Yi Xian, he was following behind the 2 bodyguards like a big boss. Early heavenly core warriors' wealth ranged from 1 million to 5 million. There were many early heavenly core warriors, and almost all of them had more than 10 million high-quality crystals. In less than half an hour, Yi Xian had obtained nearly 10,000 high-quality crystals. However, right after Judge Song killed the 4th early heavenly core warrior, a purple beam suddenly soared into the sky. That's the mayor's token has been found. Yi Xian raised his head and looked in a certain direction. The mayor's token has been found, that means everyone will gather there. This is a good opportunity. Song Suijing blinked her eyes and said, and we have to go there. But let's not fight for the mayor's token for now, we don't want to become everyone's target. Yi Xian nodded his head and said. Right after that, all of them started running towards the purple beam. At that time, a chaotic battle would definitely break out. Judge Song's blood was boiling. With Yi Xian here, Song Suijing would definitely be fine and he could finally go all out. Almost everyone saw the purple beam soaring into the sky. Just like Yi Xian, they all started running towards the same direction. Chapter 318. Lai Kong City's mayor, dead. During the early stages of the mayor competition, the 3 of them focused on training. The brother and sister duo kept fighting, and Yi Xian kept earning a huge amount of wealth. Right now, the mayor competition had reached its climax. Every group had bumped into other groups, and every time they bumped into each other, it would be a fierce fight. Because of this, their wealth was slowly gathering together, and it would enter Yi Xian's pocket. 10 minutes later, the purple light appeared once again. Yi Xian and the other 2 brothers stopped and looked around. They realized that the purple light was still some distance away from them. Right at this moment, 3 figures suddenly entered Yi Xian's sensing range. There are 3 men coming from behind us. One is at the early heavenly core realm, and the other 2 are at the early heavenly core realm. Yi Xian immediately said. Hearing this, Adjudicator Song and Song Suijing immediately turned around. They had already discussed this beforehand. Under this situation, the early heavenly core warrior would be given to Adjudicator Song, and the one at the early heavenly core realm would be given to Song Suijing. A second later, they heard the footsteps as well. Without hesitation, they charged towards the trio. Bang! Both parties immediately started fighting. Yi Xian, who was following closely behind Song Suijing, glanced at the initial heavenly core warrior. Zheng Shuahai had secretly told him that the initial heavenly core warrior was the city lord of Raging Sky City in the lower 3 cities, Lu Ming. Now is the Guangjin City's city lord battle. If this Lu Ming dies here, wouldn't there be another city lord battle held? Or will Lai Kong City be included in the mayor competition this time? Yi Xian was guessing in his mind. Right at this moment, the mayor of Lai Kong City, Lu Ming, recognized Yi Xian and the other 2 brothers. It's you guys? Lu Ming cried out in surprise. In the next moment, his expression changed because Song Suijing had already killed 2 of his subordinates. Adjudicator Song also recognized Lu Ming. He turned around and asked, Yi Xian. Kill. Yi Xian answered without hesitation. All right. Judge Song didn't dare to act rashly and began to crazily attack. So what if he was an early heavenly core warrior? He had killed a lot of them. Damn it, we've always minded our own business, so why do you want to kill me? Lu Ming asked, gritting his teeth. Are you kidding me? If the 3 of us were at the Earth Core realm, would you kill us? Yi Xian asked in return. If that's the case, then all of you can go to hell. Lu Ming shouted. His aura surged and he actually burned his own Dan essence. Many heavenly core warriors knew how to ignite their core energy. It was a way to save their lives. However, the core essence that was burned could not be recovered. Instead, it had to be recultivated. In other words, after burning one's Jindan essence, it was possible for one's cultivation level to drop. Using this, one could gain a temporary boost. Judge Song had just unleashed the 9th slash, so its power wasn't that strong. Besides, Lu Ming was one of the strongest amongst all early Heavenly Core warriors, that's why it was hard to kill him. After pondering for a moment, Judge Song used his axe to force Lu Ming back and quickly swallowed a great strength pill. In an instant his strength doubled. "Let's fight to our heart's content," Judge Song roared out. In the middle of the battlefield, both men were using all their strength. Yi Xian, who was watching from the sidelines, was also nervous. A battle of this level, he had to be cautious. If the situation wasn't good, he would intervene. But Judge Song didn't disappoint him. He successfully killed Lu Ming and only suffered some light injuries. Lai Sky City Lord Lu Ming dead. After Lu Ming died, Yi Xian took a big step forward and took the storage ring. It was really good. It was equivalent to more than 1,000 Devour crystals. However, not long after Lu Ming died, Yang Kai's voice sounded out from the sky. "Lai Sky City Lord is dead. Lai Sky City will be the main city for the City Lord battle." This voice entered everyone's ears. Lai Sky City, Guangjin City. As long as they could get the City Lord token, they would become the City Lord of both cities. At this moment, everyone went crazy. "Sure enough, I'm afraid they're going to kill until their eyes turn red." Yi Xian couldn't help but say, "Hong Long Long." Just as his voice fell, a loud rumbling sound came from all directions. "It seems that they're starting to fight to the death," Song Suijing said slowly after hearing these sounds. "Yi Xian, when are you going to compete for the City Lord token?" Judge Song asked. "It's about time. We'll get the City Lord token and let them come to us one by one," Yi Xian replied. After a while, the purple light of the City Lord token appeared again. Immediately, the three of them rushed in that direction. This time, Yi Xian personally made a move and killed all those people he met. When they landed on the island, there were more than 200 people, but now, in less than an hour, there were only a few dozen people left. The wealth of 200 people was piled up on these people. Even if they couldn't get the City Lord token, some people could still make a lot of money. The City Lord token would light up once every 10 minutes, and it would light up for a minute each time. Yi Xian and the other two men rushed towards the purple light. They had a feeling that this time the purple light didn't move. Someone must be fighting for it. Sure enough, when they arrived, they saw a few figures fighting at the edge of an underground cave. "Damn, all the old city lords of the upper 3 cities are here." Yi Xian recognized him with a single glance. Right now, the City Lord token was in Chui Feng's hand, and the other 2 city lords were attacking him together. But there were 3 masked warriors helping Chui Feng. They were the 3 monsters of Secluded Mountain who were recruited by Sun Hill City. 6 men were fighting fiercely. It was a spectacular scene and no one dared to get close to them. Yi Xian knew that there must be a lot of people watching, waiting for an opportunity to strike. "Yi Xian, what should we do?" Judge Song couldn't help but ask. A late Heavenly Core warrior was not someone he could handle. "Let them fight for it slowly, we'll go take care of the others." After saying that, Yi Xian took the lead and rushed out. He was ready to find trouble with the others. Just as he expected, there were a lot of people hiding in the woods around this open space. Although they were hiding, Yi Xian could clearly sense them. These people were all killed by Yi Xian with ease. On the other side, the 6 men were still fighting at the edge of the underground cave. Chui Feng was still holding the City Lord token, and loud rumbling sounds could be heard everywhere, even into the underground cave. But right at this moment. "Not good, this underground cave is where the Azure Sea Serpent is hiding, let's go." Chui Feng suddenly felt that something was wrong. He quickly shouted out and rushed towards the woods. The other 2 city lords looked at each other. Their hearts trembled as well, but they still chased after Chui Feng. Suddenly, a huge figure came out from the underground cave. One of the 3 monsters didn't manage to dodge in time, and was grabbed by a huge claw and instantly exploded. Chapter 319. City Lord's Command, it's a blue sea flood dragon. Someone in the forest cried out in alarm. They paused for a moment and then ran away. Yi Xian, who was in the forest, was also shocked. He had forgotten the name of this island. Death Island. Previously, Yang Kai said that there was a Strength Realm Blue Sea Flood Dragon at the center of Death Island. He also specifically reminded them not to make too much noise at the center of the island. Otherwise they might wake up the Blue Sea Flood Dragon. There was no doubt that the battle between Chui Feng's group of 6 was too intense and attracted the Blue Sea Flood Dragon. There really is a same beast. Judge Song was also shocked. Fortunately, the sea serpent dragon was chasing after them with its back facing them. A strength realm Saint Beast. Even if the three city lords join forces, they won't be able to defeat it, right? Song Suijing looked worried because the city lord's command was in Chui Feng's hands and Chui Feng's group was being chased by the blue sea flood dragon. However, when Yi Xian saw this scene, his eyes suddenly bloomed with a strange light. He grabbed Wei Zhenqian and said, "Little Tian, turn into a big bird." Wei Zhenqian was a little confused. After hearing this, he reluctantly began to collapse and enlarge his body, turning into a large stone statue that could accommodate 3 people and flew into the sky. The previous City Lord's battle didn't allow the assistance of Xian beasts, but this time Yang Kai deliberately removed this restriction, so Yi Xian dared to release Wei Zhenqian. Wei Zhenqian, who had just entered the Earth Core realm, wasn't strong enough, but he could still fly. He carried Yi Xian's group of 3 and flew 500 meters up in the air. Along the way, the 3 saw a huge flood dragon chasing after the cultivators. That flood dragon didn't chase after Chui Feng and went after another person, Song Suijing said in surprise. Good, my chance has come. Yi Xian's eyes flashed and he ordered, "Little Tian, fly 500 meters higher." The azure sea serpent chased after someone else, while Chui Feng ran in the opposite direction, which happened to be Yi Xian's location. At that moment Yi Xian directly jumped down. Then he sped up and landed on the ground in 2 seconds. At the same time, he sensed an uninvited guest within the range of his senses. He quickly chased after him and stood in front of him. Chui Feng, who was holding the City Lord token, was also startled when he saw someone suddenly appear. However, when he saw the person's face clearly, his eyes widened in shock. "It's you?" Chui Feng shouted in shock. "That's right, it's me. Old man, hand over the City Lord's token if you know what's good for you, and I'll leave you with an intact corpse." Yi Xian cut straight to the point. "What a sharp-tongued brat. I didn't look for you but you came to me yourself. Today I will avenge the 4 of them." Chui Feng shouted angrily and charged towards Yi Xian with a long sword in hand. "TSK, you should count your grandson in young Master Yang Ling." Yi Xian took out the 8 desolate sword and sneered. Chui Feng's mind trembled when he heard what Yi Xian said, and his body stopped moving for a brief moment. However, this flaw was exploited by Yi Xian. 8 desolate wind formation. The 8 desolate sword instantly broke apart and attacked Chui Feng from 8 different directions. Not good. Chui Feng's expression changed. He had heard about Yi Xian's ability before this, so he immediately swung his long sword and deflected all the sharp blades. In terms of overall strength, Chui Feng was actually stronger than Chui Linjiang. However, Yi Xian was no longer the same young man who had just broken through to the Heavenly Core Realm. He had broken through to the Heavenly Core Realm. The 8 desolate sword would become stronger when facing a strong opponent. After Yi Xian broke through to the Heavenly Core Realm, the 8 desolate wind formation and 8 desolate heavenly quake sword were the same. After just 2 rounds, Chui Feng couldn't hold on any longer. "No, this is impossible." Chui Feng shouted out loudly. But the 8 sharp blades didn't show any mercy. They slashed through his body with lightning speed and instantly cut him into pieces. Plop. Chui Feng's head fell onto the floor and his eyes were wide open. After the head was cut off, the brain wouldn't die immediately, it would still be conscious for a period of time. Therefore, Chui Feng saw his own body being cut into pieces. What was the worst way to die? It wasn't to die without a complete corpse. It was to see his own body being cut into pieces like Chui Feng. Yi Xian walked over to Chui Feng and collected all his storage rings. After that, he poured all the items into his devouring dimension and started devouring them. Not bad, there are 6,000 devouring crystals. This old man has killed quite a lot of people. Yi Xian nodded his head in satisfaction, then he picked up the ordinary-looking token. City Lord token. As long as I hold this token for an hour, I'll be the City Lord of Lai Sky City and Guangjin City. Yi Xian smiled. At this time, Wei Zhenqian suddenly descended from the sky. Is this the City Lord token? Song Suijing rushed over and took the token in her hand. Suddenly, the City Lord token emitted a purple light that soared into the sky. It turned out that the 10 minutes were up. Yi Xian, what should we do next? Adjudicator Song couldn't help but ask. Yi Xian directly replied, leave this place and wait for them to deliver themselves to us. Right now he was the owner of the City Lord token. However, he didn't want to end it so quickly, so he thought of a way. As long as he threw the City Lord token to Song Suijing or Adjudicator Song after half an hour, the time would be refreshed. However, there was a price to pay. What if the purple light attracted the Azure Sea Serpent? Moreover, they still haven't seen Jianghu and the others. If this continues, they may be in danger. In the end, Yi Xian decided to end this battle for the position of City Lord. He kept the City Lord token in his arms, then led Song Suijing and Adjudicator Song to the edge of the island. During this time, many people came to find them, but they were all killed by Song Suijing and Adjudicator Song. Well, we'll wait here for now. Wei Zhentian, you watch from above. If the Azure Sea Serpent comes in our direction, inform me. After this matter is settled, you will be rewarded. Yi Xian said. In the sky, Wei Zhentian's eyes lit up, and he quickly rose to the sky to investigate. There were continuous rumbling sounds in the distance, allowing him to accurately find the location of the Azure Sea Serpent. At this time, half an hour had passed since Yi Xian took the City Lord token. In this half an hour, his harvest was much more than before. He estimated that as long as he swallowed 1 or 200 million top-grade crystal stones, he would be able to break through to the small Earth core realm. However, at this time, a few heavyweights finally came to find him. When Yi Xian saw their faces, he couldn't help but laugh. I didn't expect that you guys would get it. Chapter 320 was over. Yi Xian had seen this old man before. He was the city lord of the second-ranked city, Wild Goose City, Suhanhai. As for the two masked men, they were two of the three monsters of Secluded Mountain. Amazing. After seeing two of the three monsters of Secluded Mountain, Yi Xian couldn't help but praise them. The three monsters of Secluded Mountain were recruited by Cui Linjiang, but now they were standing behind Suhanhai, which meant they had switched sides. Young man, you've had the City Lord's token for half an hour now, isn't it time for you to hand it over? Suhanhai squinted his eyes and said. If I hand it over, can you spare our lives? Yi Xian smiled again. Suhanhai replied coldly, no, I'll at most leave you with a complete corpse. If that's the case, then come and take it yourself. Yi Xian took out the City Lord's token from his chest. You're courting death. When Suhanhai saw the City Lord's token, he immediately dashed towards it. More than 100 men had come here for this City Lord's token, and even he had nearly died under the claws of the Azure Sea Serpent. If he could obtain this City Lord's token, then his Su family would be able to control 3 main cities. At that point of time, his benefits would be multiplied. Besides, controlling 3 main cities in one family was something that had never happened before in the Zhong province. But he had chosen the wrong target. Deadly wind formation. A violent wind suddenly appeared. While Suhanhai was shocked, he was able to block the first round of attacks. But when the second round arrived, just like Cui Feng, he was cut into countless pieces. The 2 masked men behind him reacted quickly as well. They immediately turned around and ran away. Trying to run? Yi Xian, who was standing on the same spot, narrowed his eyes, then he unleashed 8 sharp blades and killed the 2 men in an instant. Seeing the 3 men being killed by Yi Xian in an instant, Song Suijing, who was standing behind him, was shocked as well. With your current strength, you should be invincible amongst all divine core warriors, right? Yi Xian put away the 3 men's storage rings and said, but I'm still far from being able to face that Azure Sea Serpent. He saw the Azure Sea Serpent just now. It was a saint beast at the strength realm. With his current strength, he was no match for it. What? Sea Serpent? Sea Serpent? Song Suijing immediately panicked when he heard this. Don't worry. After Yi Xian said that, he started to check the contents of the universe ring. He didn't care about anything else and directly swallowed everything inside. Ding, the host's broken 7 heavenly. Yi Xian couldn't help but smile when he heard the system's notification. What? Song Suijing seemed to have sensed something and carefully sensed it. 7 is Serpent. The broken sea serpent treasure is for black God's God. This. Song Suijing was shocked. 5 seconds ago, Yi Xian had just broken through to the heavenly core realm, but now, 5 seconds later, he had broken through. What kind of freak was this? My method of breaking through is different from yours. Alright, let's wait here for half an hour. Yi Xian said. After that, all they had to do was wait here. Every 10 minutes, the mayor's token would shoot out a purple beam that soared into the sky, leading the others to this location. When these people saw the 3 young men, they would rush forward without any hesitation. But all of them were killed by Song Suijing or Adjudicator Song. Just now, when Yi Xian and the other 2 men were watching from the sky, the Azure Sea Serpent was chasing after a late heavenly core warrior, who was also the last mayor of the upper 3 cities. Perhaps he was killed by the Azure Sea Serpent's claws. In other words, there were no late heavenly core warriors on this island right now. Right now, 50 minutes had passed since Yi Xian took over the mayor's token, and the 5th purple beam had disappeared. I don't think anyone will dare to come here. They all think the mayor's token is in Cui Feng's hands. Song Suijing sat on the edge of the cliff and said while looking at the ocean in front of them. I think so. Yi Xian's mood was heavy. It had been a long time, but he still hadn't seen the 6 men from the Divine Land City. He was afraid that something bad had happened to them. But he knew that Jianghu wasn't dead. If not, this would be the battle of the 3 cities. Soon the 10 minutes had passed. Then Yang Kai's voice sounded out from the sky. The battle of the city lord's token is over. After hearing this voice, the remaining people on the island all smiled. Yi Xian raised his head and saw the blue moon bird slowly descending. He knew that the blue moon bird had always been above his head. After all, Yang Kai had to follow the mayor's token. Congratulations. Yang Kai stood on the blue moon bird's head and cupped his fist towards Yi Xian. Thank you, City Lord Yang. Yi Xian returned the gesture. After that, the 3 of them jumped onto the blue moon bird. Yang Kai rode on the blue moon bird and circled around the island, picking up everyone. The city lord of the Divine Land City, Jianghu, wasn't dead, and so was his son Jianghu. Their harvest this time was pretty good, and Jianghu had even broken through to the late heavenly core realm. But the other 3 men were nowhere to be seen. Perhaps they had met with some mishap. In this battle of the city lord's token, a lot of people had died. Originally there were more than 200 men, but now there were less than 30 left. But those who were left had a lot of harvests as well. Strange, what happened to Cui Feng and the other 2 men and the Azure Sea Flood Dragon? Someone asked curiously. They must have been killed by the Azure Sea Flood Dragon. That Azure Sea Flood Dragon is gone too. Could it have returned to the underground cave? That's too scary, the same beast is too strong. It killed one of the 3 monsters of Yu Mountain with just a claw. Luckily it wasn't that fast, or else we would have been killed by half. The survivors were secretly rejoicing. Oh right, who got the city lord's token in the end? Finally, someone remembered this matter. At this moment, Yang Kai turned around and said, Yi Xian, from now on, you are the city lord of Guangjin City and Lai Sky City. When everyone heard this, they followed his gaze and looked at Yi Xian. What, he is the new city lord? He's so young, how did he get the city lord's token? Did he get lucky? Sure, the 2 men next to him are both heavenly core warriors, even City Lord Yang's son Yang Qin, who is the leader of the Central State's 4 young masters. I think he's even stronger than them. So what? Does this mean that they know how to manage such a big territory? Hearing these people's discussion, Yi Xian smiled lightly and said, Thank you, City Lord Yang. Alright, there's no one here, let's go back. Yang Kai said and prepared to send Yi Xian and the others back to the first main city. However, right at this moment, City Lord Yang, please wait. Yi Xian suddenly called out. What's wrong? Chapter 321. Challenging a Saint Beast alone. City Lord Yang, can I ask the blue moon bird to fly to the center of the island? I have some matters to attend to, Yi Xian replied. As soon as he said this, Song Suijing immediately cried out in alarm. Yi Xian Yu. On the side, Adjudicator Song also reacted and his complexion changed. Don't worry, I know what I'm doing. Trust me, Yi Xian comforted. Although he said so, Song Suijing still looked at him with a worried expression. Yang Kai paused for a moment. He felt that something was wrong and he had a guess in his heart. This little brat, could it be? Yang Kai thought to himself, then nodded, all right. Immediately he ordered the blue moon bird to fly to the center of the island. After a while they arrived above the cave. Is this the flood dragon's lair? A group of people poked their heads out of the cave. Senior Yang, please wait a moment. As Yi Xian spoke, he directly jumped down from a height of several hundred meters. Moreover, he jumped into the catacombs. Everyone was frightened, but in the next moment, they saw a pair of wings condense on Yi Xian's back. Let me see how powerful your Saint Beast is. Yi Xian was still falling. He directly took out the Bahuang sword and aimed it at the dark cavern to attack. Boom! 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 The sword slammed into the cave's stone walls, knocking down countless of them. The group of people on the back of the blue moon bird were shocked. What is this brat doing? Is he trying to lure the sea flood dragon out? No, he's going to challenge the sea flood dragon alone. He's courting death. Even the old city lord of the original city was killed by the sea flood dragon. What is he going to do? Everyone cast a strange look at Yi Xian. As far as they were concerned, Yi Xian was courting death. On the other side, Song Suijing and the others held their breaths and watched with worried expressions. Was it really possible for a divine core warrior to challenge a strength realm Saint Beast? At this moment, a huge fellow quickly crawled out of the catacombs. It was the Azure Sea Dragon. The sea serpent dragon was enormous. It was at least 100 meters long from head to tail. Its body was covered with a layer of dark blue scales, and each scale was bigger than Yi Xian. Yi Xian looked at the sea flood dragon and quickly retreated a few steps. He held the 8 desolate sword in one hand and looked at the sea flood dragon vigilantly. Sure, this brat wants to challenge the sea flood dragon alone. Everyone on the back of the blue moon bird was shocked. Kai Yang also watched with a dignified expression. He was already prepared to take action. The azure sea flood dragon crawled out of the cave and roared at Yi Xian. The surging waves of air blew away a large portion of the forest behind Yi Xian. Right at this moment, the sea flood dragon suddenly turned around and looked into Yang Kai's eyes. It had a feeling that Yi Xian was nothing to worry about, but there was an extremely powerful aura in the air. However, when Yi Xian faced the sea flood dragon, the 10,000 beasts bloodline in his body started boiling. What a powerful pressure. If there was an Earth Core warrior here, I'm afraid he would be unable to move at all. Yi Xian thought to himself. This time he really wanted to see how strong this sea flood dragon was, because he needed a portion of dragon blood. Dragon blood. That's right, dragon blood. When he was in the Great Tang Dynasty, he broke through to the mortal core realm, and at the same time he upgraded his bloodline to a high rank. After breaking through to the heavenly core realm, he discovered a problem. In order to upgrade his 10,000 beasts bloodline to a beast king bloodline, he didn't need a huge amount of blood essence, he needed 3 portions of dragon blood. Although the flood dragon had the word dragon in its name, Yi Xian didn't know if the flood dragon's blood counted as dragon blood. Therefore he wanted to find out. If the flood dragon's blood counted as dragon blood, then he would be able to upgrade his 10,000 beasts bloodline to a beast king bloodline as soon as possible. Roar. The sea flood dragon let out a loud roar as it dashed towards Yi Xian. It stretched out its front claw trying to crush Yi Xian. Although the strength realm holy beasts were very strong, Yi Xian had seen the speed of the azure sea flood dragon just now. He estimated that after breaking through to the minor heavenly core realm, he should be able to dodge this attack. I'm definitely not its match in terms of strength. That's why I can only rely on my speed. Yi Xian thought for a moment, then he moved his body and dodged the claw attack. After that, he arrived below the sea flood dragon's abdomen. 8 desolate wind killing formation, heavenly charge. The 8 desolate sword instantly broke apart and formed into a sharp cone, then it drilled towards the top of the sea flood dragon's head. Crack. There weren't any scales on the sea flood dragon's abdomen, but even so Yi Xian's heavenly charge had no effect. As expected of a saint beast, Yi Xian thought to himself. Once again he unleashed the heavenly charge and attacked the same spot. The sea flood dragon felt an itch in its abdomen, so it immediately turned around and grabbed Yi Xian with its claw. Swoosh. Yi Xian was extremely fast, his claw once again grabbed onto the sea flood dragon's afterimage. 8 desolate wind killing formation, heavenly charge. Yi Xian once again unleashed his most powerful attack. After unleashing the heavenly charge 3 times, he still couldn't break through the sea flood dragon's defense. As for the Dan essence within Yi Xian's body, it was almost exhausted. He quickly swallowed a pill, and his core energy was instantly restored to its peak condition. After that, he continued attacking the sea flood dragon's abdomen. Right at this moment, those men on the back of the azure bird were so shocked that they couldn't say anything. They thought Yi Xian was just courting death, but they never expected that Yi Xian actually had the ability to fight a saint beast. The sea flood dragon was holding the life of a late heavenly core warrior. But when they saw the bewildered expression on the sea flood dragon's face, they didn't know what to say. They just watched quietly. This guy's speed, although it can't compare to the physical strength realm, it has already surpassed any ordinary late heavenly core warrior. If he breaks through to the physical strength realm, then, Yang Kai was also thinking in his mind. Suddenly there was a huge commotion below them. Yang Kai squinted his eyes and looked up, then he realized that the sea flood dragon had gone crazy. Yi Xian had been hiding under its abdomen and attacking it, and since it couldn't catch him, it was flying around in anger. TSK, luckily I have that 10% increase in movement speed, otherwise I wouldn't have been able to keep up with you. Yi Xian, who was underneath the sea flood dragon, murmured to himself. But, from the beginning until now, he had used the heavenly charge more than 10 times, and he was attacking the same spot. Even so, he still couldn't break through the sea flood dragon's skin. Looks like I have to wait until I break through to the late heavenly core realm. Yi Xian thought to himself. His current cultivation level was still too low, and if he broke through again, not only would his core energy increase, his 8 desolate sword and 2 other trump cards would also increase. Chapter 322. The City Lord Yi Xian. Forget it, I'll forget about it this time. I'll come back after I break through. Yixian thought about it and decided to forget about it. Then he escaped from the azure sea serpent's tail like a bolt of lightning and leaped into the cave. He instantly condensed a pair of wings and flew into the cave. The azure sea serpent paused for a moment before it began to chase around the cave. When Yang Kai saw this from above, he also ordered the blue moon bird to descend and catch Yixian. Roar. The azure sea serpent let out a roar. Its intelligence was no less than that of a human's. If it could speak, it would probably curse all 18 generations of Yixian's ancestors. Are you King toying with me? Yang Kai, who was standing on the back of the blue moon bird, exchanged a glance with the azure sea serpent, then ordered the blue moon bird to rise again. The azure sea serpent stared at them, wishing it could grow a pair of wings and chase after them. The blue moon bird rose into the sky and flew toward the heavenly water continent. After Yixian returned to the blue moon bird's back, he breathed a sigh of relief. Fortunately, Yang Kai was there. Otherwise, the azure sea serpent would have chased him all over the streets. I didn't expect your strength to improve so quickly. Yang Kai looked at Yixian and couldn't help but say. Yixian heard this and grinned. More than half a month ago, he almost died at Cui Linjiang's hands. However, more than half a month later, he could actually fight against the Saint Beast-level azure sea serpent. This was truly shocking. At this moment, he also felt the expressions of the people on the back of the blue moon bird. Almost all of them were looking at him as if he was a monster. Yixian, you're too amazing. Song Suijing threw herself into Yixian's arms in front of so many people. Her little face was full of pride. She was showing everyone that she was Yixian's woman. What a pity. Yixian shook his head. That azure sea flood dragon was full of treasures. Dragon tendons were one of the materials for crafting heaven artifact bows and arrows. Dragon meat could increase a martial artist's physical strength. If dragon bones could be ground into powder, they could also be used as an alchemy material. In addition, there was also dragon skin, dragon claws, dragon whip, and so on. However, Yixian had made up his mind. He would kill this sea serpent dragon after breaking through. Although Kai Yang was surprised by Yixian's strength, for some reason, he didn't ask too much. Soon, the blue moon bird returned to the heavenly water continent and flew back to the first main city. Many forces had gathered in the first main city. They were all waiting for the arrival of the new city lord. They were all here to make connections. The blue moon bird slowly descended, and before it even touched the ground, someone asked loudly, City Lord Yang, who became the City Lord of Guangjin City this time? That's right, who obtained the City Lord token. Is it Yangling City Lord Chui? Kai Yang stood on the head of the blue moon bird and turned to look at Yixian. The latter also understood and came forward. Then Kai Yang replied, he is the new City Lord of Guangjin City. At the same time, he is also the new City Lord of Lai Sky City because the City Lord of Lai Sky City, Lu Ming, died in the City Lord battle. What? When these words spread, all the 1,000 people here were shocked. Cui Linjiang was also among them. When he didn't find his father on the back of the blue moon bird, his heart trembled. If he didn't come back, it meant that he died in the City Lord battle. Impossible, my father is stronger than me. How could he be taken away by this little brat and even die? Cui Linjiang couldn't believe it. City Lord Yang, what about the 3 city lords? What about the others? Someone asked again. Kai Yang replied silently, they are all dead. Those who didn't come back all died over there. Oh. This answer left Cui Linjiang completely dumbfounded. Sure enough, my father has died. This time, the City Lord battle was personally chosen by the first City Lord, which is the Island of Death. Before the battle began, I gave them 2 chances to forfeit, but they didn't cherish it. Kai Yang shook his head. Impossible, my father can't have died. A middle-aged man jumped out. He was the City Lord of Fallen Gu City, Su Hanhai's son. Kai Yang's face sank and a flying dragon condensed in an instant. He shouted, so, are you questioning my words? When the middle-aged man saw the flying dragon, he forced himself to swallow his words and hurriedly cupped his fists. City Lord Yang, I'm sorry Without waiting for him to speak, Yang Kai continued, alright, that's all for the City Lord battle. From now on, Yixian will be the City Lord of Guangjin City and Lai Sky City. The City Lord of the 2 main cities was the same person. This had happened before in the history of the Central State. However, this was the first time such a young City Lord had ever happened. No one had high hopes for Yixian, but since Yixian was able to stand out from over 200 Heavenly Core warriors, he definitely had the strength. After that, Kai Yang left. After that, all the family representatives from all over the Central State came up to Yixian and gave him gifts. trying to establish a good relationship with him. Yi Xian hated these gifts the most, but surprisingly Song Suijing liked them very much, so she was the one to receive the gifts. As for Cui Linjiang and the other two city lords, they left angrily. Cui Linjiang glared at Yi Xian with hatred. He had a few guesses before this, but he never thought it would be Yi Xian who took the city lord position. This meant that he couldn't attack Yi Xian. This matter had come to an end. Yi Xian had taken over Guangjin City and Lai Sky City, therefore he had to go to these two cities and take over the city lord's mansion. Of course, before that he gave Kai Yang a list of names. There were only two names on the list, Song Suijing and Adjudicator Song. From now on, the three city lords of the upper three cities couldn't attack Yi Xian and the other two. This was the rule set by the first city lord. If anyone violated this rule, they would be killed. Before leaving, Kai Yang gave Yi Xian a heavenly core mount, allowing him to travel to Guangjin City quickly. After the city lord of Guangjin City died, Kai Yang sent a group of strong warriors to occupy the city lord's mansion. When Yi Xian jumped down from the mount, an old man immediately came up to him. "Greetings, city lord, I am the pavilion master of Guangjin City's myriad pavilion, Song Heng. All those unrelated to this matter have been driven out of the city lord's mansion," the old man said directly. Wow, the news spread really fast. Song Suijing, who was standing behind Yi Xian, was surprised. "You must be from the city lord's mansion." "Hehe, my myriad pavilion has a special communication method, that's why we were able to receive news so quickly," Song Heng said with a smile. In fact, Yi Xian didn't really want to be the city lord, he was only pulled over by Zheng Shuahai and the others. Originally, Zheng Shuahai thought they would be fighting for power, so he negotiated with Yi Xian to split it 50-50. But after going to Death Island, Zheng Shuahai completely forgot about it. Chapter 323. Fall. After becoming the city lord, I can purchase forging and alchemy materials without restraint. I can also purchase them from other cities. No wonder there are so many people vying for the position of city lord. Yi Xian thought for a moment before following Song Heng in. Song Heng acted as the steward for the time being. He first brought Yi Xian and the other two to a hidden place in the city lord's mansion. According to him, Yi Xian and the other two knew that this was the treasury of the city lord's mansion. After the city lord of Guangjin City died, we immediately received orders to occupy the city lord's mansion. Therefore, everything in this treasury is still here, Song Heng explained. Although it was called a treasury, it was actually just a small room with more than 10 interspatial rings inside. Yi Xian checked the interspatial rings and poured everything into the devouring space. Not bad, not bad. Altogether, there are 50 million top-grade crystals. Yi Xian nodded with satisfaction. He couldn't ask for too much. After all, this was only Guangjin City and not Sunhill City. Yi Xian, now that you are the city lord, how are you going to manage it? Song Suijing couldn't help but ask. Yi Xian was stumped by this question. He loved to be a hands-off boss. Brother, are you interested? Yi Xian suddenly turned his head with a smile. You want me to be the vice city lord? Forget it, I'm not interested. Judge Song shook his head. In that case, we can only return to the Soaring Heaven Mansion and ask for help, Yi Xian said helplessly. At this time, Song Heng suddenly said, City Lord, I can take care of it for a while. Okay, then help me collect some things, Yi Xian said and took out a pen and paper to write a lot of names. Then he handed it to Song Heng and said, Send this to all the major cities. I have also written down the price. Take as much as you can. First, take 50 million top-grade crystals. Although Song Heng was surprised, he didn't ask and left directly. After that, Yi Xian brought Song Suijing and Adjudicator Song to Laikong City. He wondered how many materials he would be able to purchase from the territories of the two main cities. After settling things in Lai Sky City, Yi Xian returned to Guangjin City. He had already sent people to the Soaring Sky Mansion to invite some of his senior and junior brothers who were good at management back. As for Song Suijing and Judge Song, they continued to cultivate. They originally thought that they would be able to close the gap between them and Yi Xian, but they didn't expect that the gap was still so far. Therefore, after taking a few Shen Beast cores, they began to cultivate. I wonder, when they come out from their secluded cultivation, will they be at the initial Heavenly Core Realm, or the Profound Heavenly Core Realm? However, just as they began their closed-door cultivation, in the City Lord's mansion of Yangling City in the Central State. Damn it, even Father has fallen, how is that kid still alive? The City Lord of Sunhill City, Cui Linjiang, was cursing loudly in his own residence. Just now, he had gone to the Myriad Pavilion to investigate, and he found out that his father was really dead and so was his son. But when he tried to find out who killed Cui Feng and young Master Yangling, he found out that he would need an astronomical amount of supreme-grade crystals to find out. That was why he was so angry. After pondering for a while in his residence, he went out again. This time he went to the Myriad Pavilion again. He went straight to the pavilion master of Yangling City's Myriad Pavilion and entrusted him with a task. City Lord Cui, are you sure you want to entrust me with the task of destroying the Soaring Sky Mansion? The pavilion master of Yangling City's Myriad Pavilion asked in surprise. Yes, how much do you need? Cui Linjiang nodded his head. I'll have to ask my superiors. After saying that, the pavilion master of Yangling City's Myriad Pavilion left. Not long after that he came back and reported a number. 1 trillion supreme-grade crystals. This number almost scared Cui Linjiang to death. 1 trillion supreme-grade crystals? What a joke. As the city lord of Yangling City, one of the upper 3 cities, Cui Linjiang only had a little over 100 million supreme-grade crystals. But to destroy the Soaring Sky Mansion he needed 1 trillion. Are you kidding me? That Yi Xian is the city lord of 2 main cities, but the Soaring Sky Mansion doesn't even have a single heavenly core warrior? Are you sure you're not wrong? Cui Linjiang asked in surprise. Previously there were 4 early heavenly core warriors in the Yangling City's mayor's mansion, but all of them died in the Heavenly Yuan sect. 3 of them were killed by Yi Xian himself. After that, he spent a huge amount of money to hire the 3 monsters of Secluded Mountain, but they all died on the Island of Death. After hearing about this, all the heavenly core warriors in his mansion left right away. That was why he didn't have anyone he could use right now. The price was given by my superiors, even I don't know why it's so high. But I can give you a friendly reminder, the Supreme Elder and Sect Chief of the Soaring Sky Mansion have both broken through to the early heavenly core realm. The pavilion master of Yangling City's Myriad Pavilion said. They're just early heavenly core warriors. Cui Linjiang let out a cold snort. He didn't put them in his eyes, then he stood up and left. Since the Myriad Pavilion didn't want to do anything, then he would do it himself. After returning to the mayor's mansion, he summoned his rock and flew towards the Soaring Sky Mansion. He couldn't let this go. If he didn't get his revenge, he might even have an inner demon in his heart. Revenge. I want revenge. A few days later he flew back to the Soaring Sky Mansion from Yangling City. It was nighttime. Cui Linjiang stood on the back of the rock and looked down at the brightly lit Soaring Sky Mansion. He was filled with anger. But just as he was about to dive down and slaughter everyone in the Soaring Sky Mansion, he suddenly saw a figure flying up into the sky. What? Cui Linjiang was startled. He squinted his eyes and looked up. He found that there was indeed a figure about 100 meters in front of him. Could it be a profound beast? He made a guess in his mind, then he immediately unleashed a slash towards the figure in front of him. But who would have thought that this slash, which was powerful enough to kill a heavenly core warrior, would suddenly deviate from its path and slash towards the left? But the bright light from his core energy allowed him to clearly see what that figure was. A human? How could it be a human? Cui Linjiang was shocked. He saw that the figure in front of him was actually a human. Furthermore, it was a woman, a white-haired woman. In the next moment he saw a white light flash in front of him. After that, he felt a cold sensation on his neck. Cui Linjiang's head was separated from his body, and his body fell onto the back of the rock. The rock let out a shrill cry and ran away in a panic. When Cui Linjiang's consciousness was fading away, there was still a question in his mind: who is this white-haired woman? At the same time, when Cui Linjiang died, the Myriad Pavilion Master in Yangling City also received a message. After he finished reading the message, his entire body went limp on the ground. Chapter 324. Instant Kill. The pavilion chief of the Myriad Pavilion personally sent a message. It must be something very important. The message stated that the pavilion chief of the Myriad Pavilion should immediately lead his men and occupy the mayor's mansion, because the mayor of Sun Hill City, Cui Linjiang, was dead. Gulp. The pavilion chief of the Myriad Pavilion swallowed a mouthful of saliva. It was as if he knew something, but he only paused for a second, then immediately left the mansion. The next day, all the Myriad Pavilions in the central province received the same message. The mayor of Sun Hill City had died, and in half a month, the mayor's battle for the position of mayor would begin. The entire central province was shaken. Previously in Guangjin City, the mayor of Lai Sky City had died in an accident. Now, even the mayor of one of the upper 3 cities was dead. What was going on? At the same time, Yi Xian, who was in Guangjin City, had also received the news from Songheng. Fuck, what happened to that Cui Linjiang? Daddy hasn't done anything yet, why did you die yourself? Yi Xian couldn't help but curse out loud. Chui Linjiang was the mayor of one of the upper 3 cities, and he was the mayor of one of the lower 3 cities. Under normal circumstances, Chui Linjiang wasn't allowed to attack him. But he could take the initiative to attack Chui Linjiang. But who would have thought that Chui Linjiang would die before he could attack? What was going on? Fine, since Chui Linjiang is dead, I'm sure the other 2 main cities are interested in Sun Hill City as well. When the time comes, I'll kill them as well then. With this thought in mind, Yi Xian couldn't help but smile. It looked like 5 of the 7 main cities in the central province would fall into his hands. At that time he would gather all the territories in the 5 main cities to purchase materials, and breaking through to the late Heavenly Core realm would only be a matter of time. During this half a month, the central province was extremely peaceful. After learning from what happened on the Island of Death, there were only 2 men who came to participate in the battle for the mayor's position. One was the mayor of Wild Goose City, Su Ji, and the other was the mayor of Bamboo Thriving City, Mo Jinyuan. Both of them were late Heavenly Core warriors. When Yi Xian heard the news, a cunning expression appeared on his face. Sure enough, the mayor of these 2 main cities couldn't sit still. Half a month later, Yi Xian arrived at the first main city on time. This time, because there were not many people participating in the battle for the position of City Lord, it was changed to an arena battle. The arena was right outside the first main city's City Lord Manor. Today, countless people flooded into the number 1 main city. 3 city lords fighting over Sun Hill City was something that had never happened before. Most of them were actually here to meet one person, and that was Yi Xian. The news of Yi Xian's battle with the Saint Beast, the Azure Sea Flood Dragon, had already spread throughout the entire central continent. Therefore today these people were all here to see if Yi Xian was as powerful as the rumors said. At this moment, outside the City Lord Manor, Yi Xian was already standing below the arena. Song Suijing and Judge Song were still in seclusion, so he came alone. Su Ji and Mo Jinyuan were already waiting in the other 2 corners of the arena. When the time was up, Kai Yang immediately appeared and landed in the middle of the stage. I think everyone is clear that today is the battle for the position of City Lord of Sun Hill City. However, there are only 3 people participating in this battle, so 1 person will have a bye. Kai Yang stood in the middle of the arena and spoke. But at this moment someone suddenly jumped into the arena. Everyone's attention shifted to this person. City Lord Yang, there's no need to go through so much trouble. Let me fight the 2 of them alone. It's much simpler. The person who came up to the stage and spouted nonsense was naturally Yi Xian. As soon as he appeared, he immediately became the center of attention. Crazy enough. There were already many girls screaming outside the arena. They heard that Yi Xian only had 1 fiancé. And they felt that a powerhouse like Yi Xian would have no problem marrying 8 or 10 of them back home. Therefore these girls were all here to familiarize themselves with Yi Xian. Who knows, when Yi Xian inadvertently glanced at them, he might take a fancy to one of them. However, when Su Ji and Mo Jinyuan heard this, they also jumped into the arena angrily. Arrogant brat, let me see if you're as strong as the rumors say. That's right. Since you asked for it, I'll fulfill your wish. The 2 hypocritical city lords went up to the arena. Anyway, this was Yi Xian's request, so what was wrong with them agreeing? After all, this was related to a main city's territory. No, it was related to 3. If Yi Xian were to die in this arena battle, then his Guangjin City and Lai Kongqing City would become ownerless cities. Although Su Ji and Mo Jinyuan didn't have anything to say, after they looked at each other, they came to the same decision at the same time. Kill Yi Xian. Then determine the winner and loser. It would be best to kill the other party as well. Kai Yang had seen Yi Xian's strength before, and he didn't just hear about it. So, he immediately nodded and said, okay, since City Lord Yi has said so, how can I not agree? In the next battle, City Lord Yi will fight City Lord Su and City Lord Mo at the same time. If City Lord Yi wins, then City Lord Yi will obtain Sun Hill City. If City Lord Yi loses, then City Lord Su and City Lord Mo will fight it out. In this arena battle, if you fall out of the arena, you will lose. There are no restrictions on life or death. Other than that, there are no other rules. After Kai Yang finished speaking, he directly jumped out. He looked at the 3 people in the arena and continued, if you're ready, then you can begin. Hearing this, Su Ji and Mo Jinyuan also looked at each other and took out a long sword one after another. Then they rushed towards Yi Xian. The arena wasn't very big, only 200 meters, but the material was not ordinary. It could withstand the 3 people's torment. Yi Xian looked at the 2 people rushing towards him, one on the left and one on the right. He also took out his 8 desolate sword unhurriedly. Kacha. The 8 desolate sword shattered, turning into 8 sharp blades that pierced through the air. For a master of this level, a distance of 200 meters was a matter of the blink of an eye. After Yi Xian broke through, the range of the 8 desolate wind slaughter array was expanded to 100 meters. He stood quietly in place. He didn't separate the 8 blades, but directly controlled them to attack the same person. This person was Fallen Gu City Lord Su Ji. So fast. Just as Su Ji reacted, the 8 blades had already swept in front of him. Then, in an instant, his neck was cut off. Before he died, there was only one question in his mind. Why me? Su Ji's death happened in an instant. Mo Jingyuan didn't have time to react. He was rushing towards Yi Xian. However, just as he rushed in front of Yi Xian, he felt a chill on his neck. It turned out that after the 8 blades killed Su Ji, they had turned back and killed him as well. This scene happened in just half a second. The audience outside the arena didn't see it clearly. When they reacted, they saw 2 pools of blood on the arena and 2 headless corpses. Instant kill. Yi Xian had just killed 2 late Heavenly Core warriors in an instant. Chapter 325. The Saint Beast's Attack. Sigh, I'm still not familiar with the 8 desolate wind killing array. I can only kill 1 person before returning. Yi Xian said helplessly. During this period of time he had been constantly improving, but he still couldn't split the 8 blades into 8 parts and attack 8 enemies. City Lord Yi wins. Below the arena, Yang Kai was stunned for a moment, then announced. Upon hearing this, Yi Xian couldn't help but reveal a victorious smile. Since Su Ji and Mo Jingyuan were both killed by him, then Wild Goose City and Wild Goose City should belong to him. Bang. The people outside the arena also reacted. Countless people were screaming and cheering. Yi Xian's strength had shocked everyone. Yang Kai let out a wry smile and jumped onto the arena. Soon after, the people outside the arena quieted down. Ladies and gentlemen, now that City Lord Su and City Lord Mo are dead, their main cities will now belong to City Lord Yi. Yang Kai said generously. He didn't have any interest in these main cities. After all, every city had its own myriad pavilion. Even if Yi Xian took all 6 main cities in the central province, he would still be the number 2 man in the central province. After hearing Yang Kai's words, the crowd cheered again. Yi Xian alone had 5 main cities. This had never happened before in the history of the central province. As for Yi Xian, he was also immersed in his own fantasy. It looked like breaking through to the late Heavenly Core realm was just around the corner. However, right at this exciting moment, a man suddenly jumped onto the arena and landed next to Yang Kai, then whispered something in his ear. After that, Yang Kai's expression changed. What happened? What happened? City Lord Yang's expression doesn't look so good. It must be something bad. The onlookers were all guessing. Yi Xian was also curious. What could have happened that made Yang Kai, who was in the strength realm, look like he had eaten a durian? Yi Xian, come with me. After Yang Kai said that, he immediately called his mount, the Blue Moon Bird, and jumped onto it. Yi Xian was very surprised. After putting away Su Ji and Mo Jingyuan's universe rings, he followed Yang Kai. Hearing Yang Kai's order, the Blue Moon Bird flew towards the north. Everyone below the arena looked at each other in confusion, not understanding what was going on. City Lord Yang, what happened? On the back of the Blue Moon Bird, Yi Xian couldn't help but ask. Hearing this, Yang Kai paused for a moment before replying. That azure sea serpent dragon suddenly swam to Heavenly Water Continent and is wreaking havoc. What? Yi Xian's sea flood dragon? Was it coming for revenge? Yang Lord Yang was with the blue wind? Is with the heavens god continent? I must have angered it before. Yi Xian said guiltily. The island of death was in the sea to the north of the Heavenly Water Continent. Previously, they had ridden the Blue Moon Bird to cross the hundreds of empires in the northern region. It's not that simple this time. This sea dragon brought another sea dragon with it. Yang Kai shook his head. Another sea dragon? Is it also a saint beast? Yi Xian was shocked. Yes, it's a golden black sea dragon. Its defensive power is stronger than the sea dragons. I'm afraid I can't deal with both of them alone, so I can only ask for your help, Yang Kai said solemnly. Yi Xian was also helpless. He hadn't broken through yet, so he was afraid he couldn't deal with the sea dragon. Then, was this information revealed by the first City Lord? Yi Xian asked curiously. Yes, the City Lord told me. Now that the 2 sea dragons have crossed half of the northern territory, we will meet them soon, Yang Kai nodded. Then why doesn't the first City Lord do it himself? Yi Xian asked again. Yang Kai shook his head. I'm not very sure. The City Lord is too mysterious. Even I haven't seen him before. He knows everything about the Heavenly Water Continent. Every city has his doppelganger, which is a puppet, but no one knows where his real body is. So mysterious. Yi Xian couldn't help but feel curious about this mysterious first city lord. Alright, I'm afraid we'll meet those two sea dragons soon. That golden black sea dragon has a strong defensive power. You hold it back for now, I'll go and deal with the sea dragon. Once I'm done, I'll give you one of its corpses. Saint beasts have saint beast souls in their bodies, and it's very helpful for breaking through to the spirit realm from the late heavenly core realm. If you can get it, you'll be able to save a lot of time in your cultivation. Yang Kai said. Saint beast soul? Yi Xian's eyes lit up. Perhaps he could break through to the late heavenly core realm ahead of time? They flew for a while. Alright, we're about to meet them, get ready to fight. Right after Yang Kai's words left his mouth, a loud rumbling sound came from the horizon. Two Saint Beast flood dragons had finally appeared. One was the CC dragon that Yi Xian fought before, and the other was a flood dragon with a golden armor. When the two flood dragons saw Yi Xian and Yang Kai, they immediately let out a roar and charged towards them. Go! Yang Kai let out a shout and jumped off the blue moon bird, landing on the ground in an instant. Yi Xian followed closely behind him and jumped off the blue moon bird. The original plan was to let Yi Xian stall the golden black flood dragon while Yang Kai dealt with the CC dragon. After that, they would slowly kill the golden black flood dragon. After that, Yang Kai would let Yi Xian choose a corpse. For the Saint Beast soul, let's fight. Yi Xian summoned his 8 desolate sword and charged towards the golden black flood dragon. The CC dragon had long been annoyed by Yang Kai, so it waved its dragon claws and attacked. When they were in the sky just now, Yi Xian saw that this golden black flood dragon's speed was about the same as the CC dragon's. Furthermore, he was stronger than he was half a month ago, so it wouldn't be a problem for him to stall the CC dragon, as long as he could maintain his aggro. The two sides exchanged blows in an instant. Yi Xian began to dodge the golden black flood dragon's attacks with all his might, occasionally turning his head to take a look. Yang Kai was a strength realm master and had the strength of one dragon, while the CC dragon was a saint beast and also had the strength of one dragon. However, Yang Kai was a human after all, so he was much more agile than a saint beast. Every punch he threw was enough to cause the CC dragon great pain. Amazing, he can beat back the CC dragon with a single punch. If I break through to the strength realm and integrate with the Beast King's bloodline, I wonder how strong I will be. Yi Xian was very envious, but he was still 2 realms away from the strength realm, so he had to deal with these 2 flood dragons first. Although Yang Kai was a strength realm master, he didn't have a good weapon. If he used a high-rank earth artifact to attack, it would probably break after a few stabs, so Yang Kai had been using his fists. The 8 desolate sword in Yi Xian's hand would improve with the wielder's realm, so he really wanted to lend it to Yang Kai. He estimated that if Yang Kai held the 8 desolate sword, it would be equivalent to holding a heaven artifact. At that time, it would be much easier to kill the CC dragon. Chapter 326. Great Elder? Asterisk pung. Asterisk in the distance, Yang Kai was fighting the blue sea dragon. The golden sea dragon had been successfully enraged by Yi Xian. It roared at the sky and kept waving its claws in an attempt to grab Yi Xian. However, Yi Xian was as agile as a loach. It couldn't catch him. Asterisk roar. Asterisk at that moment, the golden sea dragon roared loudly. It abandoned Yi Xian and rushed toward Yang Kai. Not good. Yi Xian's face sank. His aggro had decreased. It would be too dangerous if the golden sea dragon and the blue sea dragon joined forces. Thinking of this, Yi Xian hurriedly chased after him. His mission was to stall the dark gold flood dragon. If he allowed the dark gold flood dragon to meet up with the azure sea flood dragon, then he would have failed in his duty. If you want to go over, you'll have to get through me first. Yi Xian suddenly leaped high. The 8 desolate sword instantly shattered and turned into a sharp awl that pierced toward the golden sea dragon's eyes. Asterisk clang. Asterisk the golden sea dragon closed its eyes. The heavenly sword drilled into its eyelids. Asterisk hoo-hoo. Asterisk it clawed at the air but it still missed. This was just a delaying tactic. If the golden sea dragon wanted to help the blue sea dragon, Yi Xian definitely couldn't do anything about it. However, the golden sea dragon was determined to help. Yi Xian really couldn't do anything about it. City Lord Yang, be careful. Yi Xian hurriedly shouted. In the distance, Yang Kai instantly understood when he heard the rumbling sound approaching him. His face was extremely gloomy. If the 2 sea dragons joined forces, he was afraid that he would have to retreat. However, the first city lord had asked him to deal with these 2 sea dragons. If he didn't stop them, the central state would be in danger. What should I do? Yang Kai was thinking quickly, but he couldn't think of a solution. So, he could only try to kill the blue sea dragon with the two sea dragons joining forces. Although it was dangerous, it was the only way. Yixian was also helpless. He had been invited to help, but now he was screwed in less than half a minute. He was now wondering if he should lend the 8 desolate sword to Yang Kai. However, just as the two serpents were about to work together, a streak of white light suddenly flashed past. It swept past the golden black serpent's head, and the oceanic serpent dragon did the same. Yixian and Yang Kai were stunned for a moment, then they watched as the heads of the two flood dragons ruthlessly smashed onto the floor. Zzz. The head was instantly chopped off and dragon blood spurted out. Yixian's eyes widened. He hurriedly took out a bottle to collect some of the flood dragon's blood. He took both the Azure Sea flood dragon blood and the dark gold flood dragon blood. City Lord? At this time, Kai Yang suddenly shouted in shock. Yixian also subconsciously turned his head and saw a figure standing in the air. A spirit realm expert. However, because this person was in a position where the sun was behind him, even Yixian could not see his face clearly. The first city lord is actually a spirit realm expert? Heavens! Yixian was shocked. He had only seen one spirit realm expert before, and that was the middle-aged man who turned the injured wyvern into ashes in the Great Tang Dynasty. The other one was the first city lord. Of course, these two people could be the same person. The figure in the sky began to slowly descend. Yixian and Kai Yang's attention was focused on him. However, when the figure descended to 100 meters away from them, the two of them saw his face clearly. A woman? Kai Yang was shocked. Yixian also cried out in surprise because he was very familiar with this woman. Great Elder? That's right, the woman who stood in the air and killed the oceanic serpent dragon and the dark gold flood dragon was the Great Elder of Soaring Heaven Mansion, Lin Wenyue. Yixian never would have thought that Lin Wenyue was actually a spirit realm expert. The latter had so many wyverns flying around her. At this moment, Yixian was stunned. He didn't count the number of wyverns. Lin Wenyue slowly descended from the sky. She looked at Yixian and lightly said, "Collect the corpses." Oh. When Yixian heard this, he swallowed a mouthful of saliva. He then happily collected the corpses of the oceanic serpent dragon and the dark gold flood dragon. These were the benefits given to him by the Great Elder. He was really surprised and happy. He never thought that the Soaring Heaven Mansion, which didn't even have a heavenly core warrior, would actually have a spirit realm expert living in seclusion. This was simply unbelievable. Kai Yang was already a spirit realm expert. He naturally understood the difference between the spirit realm and spirit realm. He timidly looked at Lin Wenyue and said, "Greetings, City Lord." Lin Wenyue looked at him and said, "You can go back first." Yes. Kai Yang didn't dare to have any objections. He immediately summoned the blue moon bird and left. At this moment, Yixian had also collected the two flood dragon corpses. He jogged over to Lin Wenyue and said in shock, "Great Elder, I know you have a lot of questions, but I can tell you this first. My current realm was forcefully raised by your father." Lin Wenyue said directly. Father? Yixian was shocked once again. Forcefully raised her realm to the spirit realm? What realm was Yi Chong at? Alright, let's go back to the Soaring Heaven Mansion. Lin Wenyue took a step forward and grabbed onto Yixian's shoulder. Then she soared into the sky and flew towards the Soaring Heaven Mansion. Yixian was scared half to death. He could only feel a strong wind blowing in front of him. It was so strong that it almost broke his bones. This strong wind was so strong that he couldn't even open his eyes. But he knew that the speed at which Lin Wenyue was carrying him was much faster than Kai Yang's speed on land. And by the time he reacted, he had already returned to the bamboo forest of the Soaring Heaven Mansion. Damn, it took less than 10 minutes to fly from the Northern Territory to the Soaring Heaven Mansion in the Eastern Territory. Am I sitting on a rocket? Yixian was already shocked. The speed was too fast. Lin Wenyue directly landed in front of the wooden house with Yixian. There was still an illusion array in the bamboo forest. Yixian could only see the countless orange-red bamboos. Yixian looked at Lin Wenyue sitting on the stone bench and asked in surprise, "Great Elder, what's going on?" I'll explain it simply. I wasn't originally the city lord of the #1 main city in the central state, but Senior Shin Tulai left the Heavenly Water Continent with your father, so I took over his position. After Lin Wenyue finished speaking, she took out a round mirror and said, "This is the myriad mirror left behind by that senior. As long as it's something that happens in the central state, I can see it through this mirror." When she finished speaking, an image appeared in the round mirror. Two people appeared in the mirror. One was Song Suijing and the other was Adjudicator Song. They were cultivating in seclusion. Yixian was stunned. No wonder the myriad pavilion was omniscient. It turned out that this was the case. Chapter 327. Chapter 327 Chapter 327 Subterranean Palace. There is a huge formation under the heavenly water continent, and this mirror of all things is the foundation of the formation, so I can understand everything through it. At the same time, it can help me predict some things such as the invasion of the heavenly water continent by the two flood dragons. Lin Wenyue explained. I see. Yi Xian nodded slightly. This simple introduction had solved many of his doubts. No wonder Lin Wenyue didn't leave the bamboo forest for so many years. It was because she needed to take care of the entire heavenly water continent. It seemed that Cui Linjiang had not violated any rules back in the heavenly Yuan sect, but because Lin Wenyue saw that he was in trouble, she asked Cui Linjiang to help. Then Grand Elder, your appearance this time is because, Yi Xian asked curiously. Lin Wenyue slowly said, your father has already left the heavenly water continent. Previously I said that once you break through to the spirit stage 4, I will tell you the method to leave the heavenly water continent. You're only at the early heavenly core realm, but you already have the ability to fight with a saint beast. Therefore, I think if you break through again, you'll be able to kill a saint beast with the strength of one dragon. So you're saying that I can leave the heavenly water continent without breaking through to the 4th spirit stage? Yi Xian said in astonishment. Realm does not represent strength. If you make another breakthrough, you will have the ability to pass through the deep sea underground palace and head to the Blood Cliff continent, Lin Wenyue said. Deep sea palace. This was the first time Yi Xian had heard of this term. What kind of place is the deep sea underground palace? Can't you ride a Xian beast and fly to the Blood Cliff continent? Yi Xian asked again. Previously he had wanted to do this, but at that time his strength was too weak. Moreover, he did not know where the Blood Rock continent was, so he did not try. Between the heavenly water continent and the bloodstone continent is the chaotic astral ocean. Even a spirit stage powerhouse would die if they recklessly enter it. If the heavenly water continent wants to go to the bloodstone continent, we have to pass through this deep sea underground palace. Furthermore, this deep sea underground palace is the most dangerous place in the heavenly water continent. There are plenty of sacred beasts inside. That's why I asked you to look for me after you break through to the 4th stage of the spirit stage. Lin Wenyue explained. Deep sea underground palace? Yi Xian said. Lin Wenyue, the heavenly water continent. Lin Wenyue nodded. That's right, but it was your father who brought that senior through. That senior once tried it himself, but he didn't succeed and was forced to retreat. At that time he already had the strength of 2 dragons. 2 dragons, dragon strength? Yi Xian swallowed a mouthful of saliva. As far as he knew, Yang Kai only possessed the strength of 1 dragon and had just broken through to the strength realm. Yang is Yang Yang's too. If even such a mighty warrior couldn't pass the test, how was he going to do it when he was an early heavenly core warrior? Lin Yi Xian's is Yang's Yang? Yi Yang he's he Yang or even Yez's. The first stage of the spirit stage is the gravity realm, the second stage is the aura realm, the third stage is the essence realm, and the 4th stage is the spirit realm. According to what I know, your father was already at the spirit realm. Lin Wenyue had a strange expression on her face. That's impossible. How could the heavenly water continent give birth to a spirit realm warrior? Yi Xian said in disbelief. In the center of the heavenly water continent, the central province, there were only a few peak heavenly core warriors. After breaking through to the peak heavenly core realm, one would enter the strength realm, then the spirit realm, then the soul essence realm, and finally the divine soul realm. How could there be such a huge gap between the 2 realms? I'm not too sure either. Before you were born, your father had already passed through the deep sea underground palace. After you were born, he returned. I heard that he was severely injured, and his strength had regressed. He spent a few years to recover and return to his peak. After that, he left with that senior. Lin Wenyue shook her head. Yi Xian tried to sort out the story by himself. When Yi Chong returned from the Bloodstone continent with him as a baby, he met the previous First City Lord. After that, this senior asked Yi Chong to take him away from the heavenly water continent. But Yi Chong was severely injured at that time, so he needed a few years to recover. As for why Yi Chong was so strong, perhaps it was because he had encountered some kind of opportunity. If that's the case, then my mother should be from the Bloodstone continent. Yi Xian thought for a moment, then a figure suddenly flashed through his mind. He asked again, then Great Elder, do you know who the senior who saved me in the Tang dynasty was? Lin Wenyue shook her head helplessly when she heard this. I've tried to investigate that person, but the myriad mirror didn't show anything. This means that he isn't a native of the heavenly water continent. He must have passed through the deep-sea underground palace from the Bloodstone continent. Also, according to that person's skills, he should be at least a spirit realm warrior. Spirit realm. Yi Xian rolled his eyes. The Heavenly Water continent was such a remote place, and there were actually 2 spirit realm warriors. This was unbelievable. But he also understood that the middle-aged man must have known Yi Chong. If not, he wouldn't have come to such a remote place like the Heavenly Water continent. Yi Xian thought for a moment, then he asked again, "Then what should I do now?" "Break through, then go to the deep-sea underground palace. Although you might not be able to pass through it in one go, you can still gain some experience. With your talent, it shouldn't be difficult for you to pass through it," Lin Wenyue said with a firm look in her eyes. Yi Xian paused for a moment. He was currently at the minor heavenly core realm, and if he devoured the 2 flood dragon corpses, he might be able to break through to the late heavenly core realm. But he knew that he wasn't far from the deep-sea underground palace. "Then, Great Sect Elder, do you have any heaven-ranked martial arts here?" Yi Xian tried to ask. "No, there might be some in the deep-sea underground palace. There is a formation in the deep-sea underground palace that prevents me from entering, and it seems like it was built by a Soul Essence Realm warrior. Only those who are at the Soul Essence Realm or below can enter." Lin Wenyue shook her head. He had only learned a high-ranked earth-ranked martial art. All right, Yi Xian felt helpless. There must be a lot of good things in the deep-sea underground palace, and if Lin Wenyue could enter, then he would be rich. "You can continue to improve your cultivation. Come find me when you want to enter the deep-sea underground palace. Also, your fiancée and her brother have a very special physique. I think they will be able to break through to the late heavenly core realm soon. At that time, both of you can enter the deep-sea underground palace together." After Lin Wenyue finished speaking, she waved her hand. After that, the scenery in front of Yi Xian instantly changed, and he appeared at the entrance of a bamboo forest. "Damn, even if you don't have a heaven-ranked martial art, you can at least give me some soul-congealing stones." Chapter 328. Guan Yulan had gone missing. Forget it. Let's do it ourselves. Let's return to the central province and take over the 3 main cities. Yi Xian shook his head, then he grabbed Wei Zhenqian and brought him out. "Little Tian, let's go back to the central province." Yi Xian was brought away by Yang Kai after the battle for the position of mayor. But after Su Ji and Mo Jinyuan died, Lin Wenyue immediately notified the Myriad Pavilion and took over the 2 main cities' mayor palaces. While flying back to the central province, Yi Xian used the devouring space to dismember the 2 flood dragons. Dragon tendons, dragon skin, dragon flesh, dragon bones, dragon claws and dragon penis were all separated. The reason why he didn't devour them directly was because the dragon meat could improve a warrior's physique. It wasn't very useful to him, but it would be a great help to Song Suijing and Judge Song. As for the Saint Beast souls of the 2 flood dragons, he kept them. Once Song Suijing and Judge Song broke through to the late heavenly core realm, they might be useful. Perhaps they would be useful to him as well. Soon he returned to the central province and took over the 3 upper cities. He then ordered his subordinates to collect an unlimited amount of forging materials. Mid and high-rank earth tools were monopolized in the central province. Once they were forged, they would be taken over by the Myriad Pavilion and given to other families. Therefore, it would be difficult for a rogue cultivator to obtain them. There were 7 main cities in the central province and more than 100 big cities. Yi Xian's order to purchase had spread across the entire central province. Right after he returned to Guangjin City, Song Hung brought him a huge amount of forging materials. He immediately forged these materials into mid or high-rank earth tools, then gave them to the Myriad Pavilion. In just the blink of an eye, he had earned a few tens of millions of high-rank crystal stones. He was getting closer and closer to the late heavenly core realm. Song Suijing and Judge Song had broken through to the early heavenly core realm, and it wouldn't be long before they broke through to the late heavenly core realm. At that time, all 3 late heavenly core warriors would go to that deep-sea underground palace. Soon half a month had passed. In the past half a month, Yi Xian had spent countless top-grade crystals to buy materials. He had bought almost all the materials in the central province. He had lost count of how many mid-rank and high-rank earth weapons he had crafted. In any case, even a Mortal Core Jr. would have a high-rank earth weapon. Because of this, he was only 1 step away from the late heavenly core realm. At the same time, in just half a month's time, Jianghu had helped Wei Zhenqian break through to the late heavenly core realm, and he had spent 500,000 devour crystals. Wei Zhenqian was only 1 step away from breaking through to the strength realm and becoming a saint beast. Half a month later, Song Suijing and Judge Song came out from their secluded cultivation. They had both broken through to the late heavenly core realm. But there was still a long way to go before he could break through to the late Heavenly Core realm. If a late Heavenly Core warrior wanted to break through to the physical strength realm, he would have to first cultivate his core essence to its limit, then break his core and form his soul. Song Suijing and Judge Song had just broken through, and there was still a long way to go before they could break their core essence. Therefore Yi Xian gave Wei Jintian the 2 dragon strength Saint Beast souls for the time being. After Wei Jintian swallowed them, he started absorbing them in his storage space. Once he finished, he should be able to break through to the Saint Beast realm. After Song Suijing and Judge Song broke through, they went back into secluded cultivation and started absorbing the dragon meat. After that, Yi Xian broke through to the late Heavenly Core realm 1 week after they went into secluded cultivation. His overall strength had once again increased by another level. Right now, he estimated that he could fight an ocean flood dragon alone, and he could even kill it. After some time, Song Suijing and Judge Song had also finished absorbing a huge amount of dragon meat, and had increased their physiques to the limit. The duo's overall strength was many times stronger than before. If they joined forces, perhaps they would be able to fight Yi Xian. The trio's overall strength had surpassed the divine core realm. All they needed to do was to prepare themselves, and they would be able to explore the deep-sea underground palace. However, since the new year was approaching, they decided to wait until then before they set off. Right now, not only had the name Yi Xian spread across the entire Zhong province, it had even spread across the 4 major regions. However, this was only spread between the dynasties. A small kingdom like the Profound Sun Empire still didn't know about Yi Xian's achievements. Every time Yi Xian returned to the Profound Sun Empire, he would always think of one person, Guan Yulan, who was brought out by the sect chief of the Shattered Cloud sect. But until now, Guan Yulan hadn't returned to the Shattered Cloud sect. Therefore, Yi Xian decided that after the new year, he would go to Lin Wenyue and use the all-knowing mirror to find out more about her. This year was a happy year. Song Cheng and the others knew that Song Suijing and Adjudicator Song were going to leave with Yi Xian. Therefore, they decided to let Yi Xian and Song Suijing get engaged on the new year. Besides that, Xue Qingqing's engagement with Yi Xian was cancelled on the same day. This was her own decision. Yi Xian was too far away from her. She felt that only Song Suijing was qualified to be Yi Xian's partner, and only she could accompany Yi Xian. After the new year, Yi Xian finally turned 18 years old. The next day he brought Song Suijing and Adjudicator Song back to the Soaring Heaven Mansion. Outside the bamboo forest in the Soaring Heaven Mansion. "You two wait here for a moment," Yi Xian said to the siblings. "Okay, you go in." Song Suijing nodded obediently. She also knew that the Grand Elder only saw Yi Xian. Yi Xian walked into the bamboo forest. Immediately after, the illusion array within the bamboo forest was broken. However, the 2 siblings at the entrance still couldn't see the small house in the forest. "You're here." The door of the small house opened and the white-haired Lin Wenyue walked out. "Grand Elder, I'm ready, but before that, I want to ask you to help me investigate a person," Yi Xian respectfully said. "Oh," Lin Wenyue asked in surprise. "Her name is Guan Yulan, a friend of mine in the Shattering Cloud sect. However, she went out to train and hasn't returned yet, so," Yi Xian replied. Lin Wenyue didn't ask further and directly took out the all-knowing mirror. However, after waiting for a while, there was no reaction. This. Yi Xian's heart trembled. The all-knowing mirror has no reaction. It seems that she either left the heavenly water continent or... Lin Wenyue slightly frowned. "Dead?" Yi Xian opened his eyes wide and asked, "Grand Elder, can you investigate more specifically?" "Yes." Lin Wenyue nodded. This time the all-knowing mirror finally showed an image. The all-knowing mirror showed a large rock with 3 people on its back. One of them was Guan Yulan. Her expression was calm without the slightest fluctuation. Her eyes were dull and no one knew what she was thinking. As for Qingyu, she was quietly lying behind her. As for the other 2 people, one was a middle-aged man and the other was a white-haired old woman. As for the middle-aged man, Yi Xian had seen a portrait before. It was the sect master of the Shattering Cloud sect. Chapter 329. Entering the deep-sea underground palace. At this moment the scene suddenly changed. The rock that the 3 of them were riding on flew above an island. Then it passed by the island. Its speed was so fast that it surpassed Yi Xian's and even Lin Wenyue's reactions. "Death Island?" Yi Xian exclaimed. The place that the rock passed by was the location of the city lord battle, Death Island. The cave in the ground was the Azure Sea Serpent's lair. Lin Wenyue was also extremely shocked. She checked again and a date appeared. When Yi Xian saw the date, he immediately reacted and said, "This is the 2nd day after she left the Shattering Cloud sect." He didn't understand. He remembered that he was still on his way to South Forest City to participate in the Imperial Capital Tournament. But at this time, Guan Yulan was riding on a rock that was even stronger than Lin Wenyue and passed by Death Island. "I'm afraid that your friend has encountered some trouble." Lin Wenyue finally spoke. "Great Elder, what's going on?" Yi Xian asked in shock. "In my opinion, that little girl was bewitched by a strange method. As for that old woman, she's probably not simple. I'm guessing that she should be a spirit stage expert." Lin Wenyue guessed. Spirit stage. Another spirit stage expert. There were actually 3 spirit stage experts in the small heavenly water continent. Then why did the old woman take her away? And why did she go to Death Island? Yi Xian asked again. "I'm not too sure about this. Perhaps, that little girl has some sort of special constitution." Lin Wenyue paused for a moment, then said, "Our heavenly water continent can only be considered as a small island. The old woman is probably from the islands around the heavenly water continent. She accidentally passed by the heavenly water continent and found your friend. Because her realm was too high, the omniscient mirror couldn't capture her. Also, the entrance to the deep sea underground palace is on Death Island, which is the Azure Sea Serpent's lair." What? Yi Xian's eyes widened. The entrance to the deep sea underground palace was the sea dragon's lair? There's a limit to this omniscient mirror. At most, you can only see what's on Death Island. You won't be able to see anything beyond that. Therefore, you'll have to investigate this matter yourself. Lin Wenyue put away the omniscient mirror. Yi Xian nodded. Although this was bad news, it was still good news that Guan Yulan was still alive. "Then, Great Elder, do you know if there are any islands nearby?" Yi Xian asked again. Lin Wenyue shook her head. "I'm not sure. I only know that the deep sea underground palace leads to the Blood Cliff continent. If you don't have a map of the sea, you'll get lost in the sea. You better give up on this idea." "I won't do anything stupid," Yi Xian said indifferently. Just now, Lin Wenyue said that the old woman was at least a spirit stage expert. With his ability, it was impossible for him to bring Guan Yulan back. "If you're prepared, then go to Death Island by yourself. Here's a map of the deep sea underground palace. You must keep it well. The deep sea underground palace is a huge maze. There's only one way to reach the Blood Cliff continent. Don't get lost in there." As Lin Wenyue spoke, she took out a letter and handed it to Yi Xian. "If you see your father, help me pass this letter to him." Also, before he went to the Blood Cliff continent, he only left behind 2 words, Imperial Palace. "Imperial Palace? I got it." Yi Xian directly put the letter into the devouring space. This Imperial Palace was definitely a force in the Blood Cliff continent. Then he left and headed to the central region. He had already handed over the 5 main cities of the central region to Jianghu, Jianglu, and the others. At the same time, Zhou Yan and Lin Shi had also established a new Soaring Heaven Mansion in the central region. With the help of the Great Elder, the Soaring Heaven Mansion would definitely become the #1 sect in the Heavenly Water Continent. Song Suijing and Adjudicator Song were already prepared to enter the Deep Sea Underground Palace. When they found out that the entrance to the Deep Sea Underground Palace was at Death Island, they were shocked. They sat on Wei Jintian and flew directly above Death Island. Now that the overlord of this place was dead, the number of profound beasts on the island had increased. "Let's go down," Yi Xian said to Wei Jintian. Then they began to slowly descend. This underground cavern was about 400 to 500 meters high. It was extremely dark. Yi Xian directly exchanged for a large number of night pearls and madly threw them down. Soon, the entire dark underground cavern was lit up. "The entrance is there." Song Suijing pointed in a direction with her slender fingers. Yi Xian and Adjudicator Song Suijing looked in that direction. Sure enough, there was an entrance that was as tall as 2 people. This was a place that the Azure Sea Serpent couldn't enter. After seeing that there was no threat below, Wei Jintian quickly descended. Yi Xian and the other 2 jumped to the ground. After Wei Jintian sent the 3 of them to the ground, it shrunk into a nut and jumped on Yi Xian's shoulder. "Let's go," Yi Xian said and led the way into the entrance. The entrance was still very dark and led to the underground. However, Yi Xian had already explored this passage with his supersonic bat bloodline. After walking for about half an hour, they finally saw a golden light in front of them. They quickened their pace and saw a golden door. "Deep Sea Underground Palace." Song Suijing read out the words on a stone tablet. This Deep Sea Underground Palace was built by a Soul Essence Realm Senior. The interior is complex and intertwined. Without a map, one would get lost inside. Yi Xian thought in his heart as he walked forward and pushed open the door. Just as he pushed open the golden door slightly, he felt that his hand had reached into a strange place. Water? Yi Xian was startled. Why isn't the water flowing out? Song Suijing approached in astonishment and also put her hand in. It's so strange. My sleeves aren't wet. Adjudicator Song couldn't help but say. However, Yi Xian's complexion didn't look so good. This should be a formation. I reckon that if we enter it, our speed will decrease. Yi Xian said and went in. He felt that even without the blade fish's underwater breathing effect, he would be fine. Song Suijing and Adjudicator Song also went in. Sure enough, they can breathe in this special water, but their speed did decrease. After all, there is resistance. Of course, this is only for her and Adjudicator Song. Yi Xian has the bloodline of the blade fish, so he isn't restricted in the water. It's amazing. Look at the ceiling. Song Suijing looked up and said. Yi Xian looked up and found that the ceiling was transparent. They could see the fish swimming above. Not only that, they also saw a crab swimming in. It seems that the threat of this deep-sea underground palace comes from the saint beasts in the sea. Yi Xian said slowly. The three of them walked into the deep-sea underground palace. At the same time, the door behind them closed. Although it is said to be at the bottom of the sea, the formation above emitted light, so the passage was not much different from the outside. Yi Xian's first impression of the deep-sea underground palace was that of an aquarium. However, the floating seaweed under the corner of the passage made Yi Xian understand that this is the deep-sea underground palace. Yi Xian, there are 3 paths here. Which one should we go? Song Suijing looked around and asked. Yi Xian pointed to the first path and replied, if we encounter a fork in the road, we just need to go west. Although it is difficult to distinguish east and west at the bottom of the sea, he has a compass in his hand and won't get lost. Chapter 330. Chapter 330. Hunting a saint beast. However, an hour after they entered the deep-sea underground palace, they finally encountered a powerful creature. What's wrong? Song Suijing asked in surprise while holding her ice crystal sword. There's a big guy in the corner, I feel it. Yi Xian slowly replied. His supersonic bat bloodline could sense that this creature was an octopus, and his myriad beast bloodline could tell that it was a saint beast. Song Suijing also looked forward and saw several tentacles stretching out from the corner. I hate these things the most. Song Suijing couldn't help but shrink behind Yi Xian. Multi-legged creatures such as octopuses, crabs, centipedes, and even caterpillars are creepy, especially large ones. That's good, let me do it. Song Suijing raised her axe and directly rushed over. You wait here, I'll also go and take a look. Yi Xian said and followed. The map Lin Wenyue gave him indicated that in the first part of the underwater palace, there would be at most 1 dragon-strength saint beast. Starting from the middle part, there would be 2 or even 3 dragon-strength saint beasts. As for the second part, it was the same as the first part, at most 1 dragon strength. The Heavenly Water Continent was very far from the Bloodstone Continent. Even an expert with 3 dragon strength would need more than a month to pass through the underwater palace. Therefore it was still a long way to go. Yi Xian and Song Suijing rushed over. The latter raised the flaming sun axe and chopped at one of the tentacles, but he couldn't cut it. So tough, take another one of my axe. Song Suijing shouted and raised the flaming sun axe with all her strength. Rip! An octopus tentacle was cut off and fell to the ground. Yi Xian also took a step forward and slashed down with his 8 Desolations great sword. Rip! The second octopus tentacle was cut off. However, what shocked the two was that the octopus tentacle that Song Suijing just cut off grew back. What a strong recovery ability! Yi Xian was stunned. A new octopus tentacle had grown on the spot. This recovery ability was quite impressive. However, Yi Xian still went over out of curiosity. He was prepared to devour the octopus tentacle to see how much it was worth. At this moment, a change occurred. The 2 severed octopus tentacles suddenly began to twist, and then turned into a pillow-sized octopus. That's disgusting. Song Suijing, who had appeared out of nowhere, subconsciously took a step back. Damn, it can actually split apart. Go to hell. Yi Xian was also shocked. He swung his sword again and cut the little octopus in half. This time the octopus did not split again. Damn it, it's just like a flower vase. It doesn't even have a single devouring point. Looks like I'll have to devour it whole. Yi Xian cursed in his heart. He turned his head and said, I'll go take care of this big one. Alright. Judge Song nodded. Then Yi Xian directly rushed out. He did not attack the tentacles. He was going to find trouble with the main body directly. He turned a corner and found a big white octopus attached to a wall. He took a closer look and found that the tentacles were more than 20 meters long. It was obvious how big the big white octopus was. The big white octopus also saw Yi Xian. It immediately retracted its tentacles and swung them at Yi Xian. Its attack speed was even faster than that of the azure sea serpent. Bam! The tentacles hit the floor, causing the ground to tremble. In order to prevent it from splitting into smaller octopus, Yi Xian directly chose to dodge and rushed straight over. All in all, there were 4 tentacles attacking him. Fortunately, he had the 8 barren wind formation. He could use the 8 sharp blades to shake off the tentacles. In an instant he arrived in front of the octopus's big head, ready to give it a fatal blow. But at this moment, gurgle, gurgle. The big octopus's brain suddenly spat out a stream of purplish-black ink from its round mouth. Yi Xian hurriedly dodged. The ink hit nothing and turned the wall black. Sizzle, a strange sound entered Yi Xian's ears. He turned his head and found that the stones and seaweed in the corner had been corroded. This world is full of strange things. An octopus can actually spit out poisonous ink. But you deserve to die. How dare you scare my fiancé? Yi Xian roared in his heart. The 8 sharp blades instantly formed a sharp cone and began to spin at high speed. 8 barren wind formation, sky rush. Boom. The octopus's big head was instantly penetrated. It is said that octopuses have 3 hearts. Watch how I stab you into a sieve. Yi Xian didn't let his guard down. He continued his attack and created a few big holes in the octopus's head. He even broke the ink sac, causing purple-black ink to spill out. The big octopus didn't want to die just like that. Before it died, it recalled all of its tentacles and spat out a huge amount of ink, painting the entire area black. But before that, Yi Xian had already left the area. What a strong poison. I wonder if my myriad flower bloodline can withstand it? Yi Xian retreated to the corner and couldn't help but say. After the big octopus died, he collected its corpse and began devouring it. The Saint Beast's corpse is really good. It's equivalent to 3 soul-condensing stones. Yi Xian thought to himself. He then returned to where he was and said, it's a Saint Beast's soul. But, since your heavenly core hasn't shattered yet, I'll take it first. In order for a heavenly core warrior to break through to the 4th realm of the spirit realm, he had to first cultivate his core essence to its limit, then shatter his core and form his soul. But this brother and sister duo had just broken through, so they didn't need to use it yet. And take it. Song Suijing nodded her head. After that, Yi Xian immediately devoured the corpse, increasing his devouring crystal essence by 100,000, which was equivalent to 10 soul-condensing stones. He estimated that after killing a few hundred more Saint Beasts, he would be able to break through to the strength realm. The Azure Sea Flood Dragon's blood and the Dark Gold Flood Dragon's blood are both dragon's blood. That's why I still need one more. I wonder if there are any more flood dragons in this underground palace. If there are, once I break through to the strength realm, I'll be able to upgrade my myriad beast bloodline to Beast King bloodline. Yi Xian thought to himself. After that, they continued their journey. There were quite a lot of profound beasts along the way. Although they weren't as valuable as the Saint Beasts, they could still accumulate. In just one day, Yi Xian had gained 10% of his experience points. If he had another 10 days, he should be able to break through to the limit of the heavenly core realm. At that point of time, he would be able to break through to the strength realm with 10 different beast souls. There was no day or night in the underground palace. Yi Xian and the other 2 didn't travel quickly. They just sat down and rested when they had nothing to do. Song Suijing and Judge Song entered the yin and yang state to cultivate, and Yi Xian was guarding them. Chapter 331. First encounter with the sea race. Today is the 7th day since they entered the deep sea palace. As usual, they are heading west. The number of Saint Beasts they have killed has reached 30. As for the Xian beasts, they are already too many to count. This deep sea palace is too boring. Why are there so many creatures with legs? I can't even fight properly. Song Suijing said with an unhappy expression. She was of the same level as Song Ju, and her strength wasn't much different. However, Song Ju had killed countless profound beasts in the past 3 days, and she had also killed quite a few Saint Beasts with Yi Xian. As for her, she hadn't killed a single Saint Beast. Don't worry, next time we meet a Saint Turtle, I will let you have it. Judge Song comforted. Brother, you are doing this on purpose. How can I break through such a strong defense? Song Suijing said with dissatisfaction. Judge Song said with a smile, then let brother-in-law break the turtle's shell and let you have it. After hearing this, Yi Xian was slightly helpless. Among the Saint Beasts they have encountered in the past few days, the turtle they encountered yesterday was the most difficult to deal with. That turtle's shell is so hard that he had to take more than 30 pills to break it open. The 3 began to chat. But at this time Yi Xian's face suddenly froze. What's wrong? Song Suijing asked curiously. Something is coming towards us. They are not big, but there are 3 of them. Yixian took out the Bahuang sword. Let me do it, I am bored to death. Song Suijing hurriedly stood up. 3 Shen beasts is not a problem for her. However, when she saw the 3 creatures that had turned the corner, her body couldn't help but tremble. What is this? Fuck. Yixian was also shocked. What did he see? Of these 3 creatures, the 2 on the left and the one in the middle is a big crab. What's even more strange is that the 2 prawns are holding 2 rods in their hands, while the big crab is holding 2 sledgehammers and its 2 pincers. What the hell? Is this a TV drama? After seeing the appearance of these 3 creatures, Song Suijing blurted out, Sea tribe? Yo, there are actually 3 humans here. How strange, a relatively fat prawn said. Strange, how many years has it been since we met a human? Another skinny prawn said. Holy sh*t, it can speak? When Yixian heard the 2 sharp voices, he was shocked. It was one thing for prawn and crab to be able to walk on 2 legs, it was one thing for them to be able to wield weapons, but how could they speak? Yixian, they are members of the sea race, a race that lives at the bottom of the sea. Saijue Song hurriedly reminded. Then why is it here? The map doesn't say anything about it. Yixian felt helpless. At this time, the giant crab with the twin hammers said, Humans, why have you intruded into our territory? Your territory? Yixian frowned. This deep-sea underground palace is your territory? Nonsense, our sea dragon clan has occupied this deep-sea underground palace for several years. The giant crab coldly shouted. When it opened its mouth, it spat out a lot of foam which made Yixian feel a little nauseous. A giant crab actually spoke in human language. This was too strange. I heard that this deep-sea underground palace was built by a Soul Essence Realm senior. Moreover, we only want to pass through this deep-sea underground palace to reach the Blood Cliff continent. Yixian politely said. The only way to the Blood Cliff continent has been blocked by our sea dragon clan. Go back to where you came from. The giant crab coldly said. Blocked? After Yixian and the other 2 heard this, they looked at each other. The map indicated that there was only one way to reach the Blood Cliff continent, but now, this road was blocked by the sea tribe. How could this be? Can we pass through? Yixian asked again. No, stop talking nonsense and go back. Otherwise, don't blame me for breaking the agreement with the humans. The giant crab directly refused. Agreement? Yixian narrowed his eyes and said, If that's the case, then let me see the strength of the sea tribe. What shameless boasting. You dare to challenge our captain? You're courting death. The fat prawn coldly snorted. That's right. Captain's hammer can smash the shell of an iron-backed tortoise. The skinny prawn also echoed. After hearing this, Yixian's face sank to the extreme. The iron-backed tortoise was the tortoise saint beast he had killed the day before. However, the giant crab's hammer was able to shatter the shell of the iron-backed tortoise. If that attack had landed on him, he would have been turned into minced meat. Yixian. Song Suijing immediately showed a worried expression. It's fine. Don't worry. Yixian comforted. He estimated that this giant crab only had the strength of 1 dragon. Moreover, he also had the bloodline of the blade fish. In the deep-sea underground palace, his speed did not decrease like Song Suijing and Adjudicator Song. As long as he was fast enough, he wouldn't be hit. Immediately, he walked out with the Bahuang sword in hand. The giant crab saw Yixian coming out and shouted, Good courage. Our sea tribe has an agreement with the human race. If we meet in the sea, we can't attack the human race first. However, since you want to challenge me, then I won't be restricted by this agreement. I will say the ugly words first. Meng-san will not show mercy. If you are smashed to death by me, then you can only blame yourself for overestimating yourself. Come at me. Yixian coldly said. In his heart he thought, what's the point of using the human race's surname? Very well, as you wish. The giant crab called Meng-san walked out. Captain, smash him to death with 1 hammer. Yes, smash him to death with 1 hammer. Let him know the power of our sea tribe. The fat and skinny prawns shouted. Just as they finished speaking, the human and crab on the battlefield began to move. Bam, bam, bam. Meng-san's crab legs, which were not thinner than a human's thigh, quickly stomped on the ground and rushed towards Yixian with his hammer. From his weapon, it could be seen that he was the same as Adjudicator Song. He focused on strength, so he was lacking in speed. After seeing his speed, Yixian sneered in his heart. Sure enough, his speed was not fast, about the same as the Azure Sea Flood Dragon. Since that is the case, then become my punching bag. Yixian slightly raised the corner of his mouth and instantly burst out with full speed. The Bahuang sword also disintegrated and swept towards Meng San. Humans have many tricks up their sleeves. Meng San coldly snorted and swung his hammer, knocking away the 8 sharp blades one by one. Although his speed was slower, his attack speed was much faster than Yi Xian. In the blink of an eye, the 8 blades were knocked away. Then Meng San took advantage of this opportunity to rush towards Yi Xian. However, Yi Xian stood in place without moving and maintained his smile. Chapter 332. Super Impact Captain, watch out! The 2 shrimps shouted. Meng San, who was running wildly, was startled. Then he felt a jolt behind him. Something had slammed into him. Whoosh whoosh. He struck out with his hammer and smashed Tianchong Per into pieces. What a tough weapon, Meng San muttered to himself. He turned around and continued charging at Yi Xian. Boom. His hammer smashed into the ground, causing it to tremble. However, Yi Xian had already dodged. Deadly wind formation of the 8 Baron, Skybreak. Yi Xian once again controlled the 8 sharp blades to form a cone and drilled it into Meng San's back. Meng San shuddered. He shouted, "Kid, my defense is no weaker than the iron-backed tortoises. Your attack can't do anything to me. Retreat obediently. We just started fighting. Can you cut the crap?" Yi Xian's cold voice rang out. "Fine, since you want to die, I'll send you on your way." Meng San turned around angrily. He sent Skybreak flying again and charged at Yi Xian. In terms of strength, Yi Xian was definitely not his match. However, in terms of speed, Yi Xian was at least 30% faster than him. This battle was actually a one-sided beating. However, Meng San's defense was indeed strong. Yi Xian's few attempts at breaking through were unable to break through his shell. Looks like I can only use this method of attrition, Yi Xian muttered to himself. After all, his Jindan essence was almost infinite. If Meng San's carapace defense was 100, then Yi Xian felt that as long as he could hit 100 to 99, he would continue. The battle had already lasted for half a minute. In that half a minute, Yi Xian had been running left and right. Meng San could not catch up to him at all. As for Meng San's shell, a faint crack had appeared on it. Crack. A crisp sound rang out and everyone's expression changed. Yi Xian revealed a gratified smile. He had finally broken through. The carapace on Meng San's back was shattered. If this continued, Meng San would definitely die in his hands. How is this possible? This human brat actually shattered the captain's shell? I must have misheard. The 2 prawns couldn't believe it. Even Meng San felt the same way. He felt that Yi Xian's attacks were very ordinary. He only felt a slight tremor every time and did not feel anything. But what he didn't know was that Yi Xian was only able to break through his defense by attacking the same spot every time. Meng San was so shocked that he retreated backwards. He said in astonishment, "I admit that you are very strong. If you had forcefully passed me, I wouldn't have been able to catch up to you. However, I'm afraid your 2 companions won't make it, right?" Yi Xian also stopped his attacks and calmly looked at Meng San. Indeed, if the 3 of them had forcefully passed through, then Song Suijing and Adjudicator Song would definitely have been stopped. Yi Xian narrowed his eyes and said, "But I have already broken through your defense. If we continue to fight, then you will die in my hands. At that time, wouldn't I have passed?" "Correct. If we continue to fight, then I would indeed have died in your hands." Meng San nodded in agreement and said, "But have you ever thought that I am only a small team leader and only have the strength of 1 dragon? Above me there are captains with 2 dragon strength. Above the captains there are commanders and generals. The only way to the Bloodstone continent has been blocked by the king of my clan. What do you think your chances of passing through are?" This question stumped Yi Xian. Captains, commanders and generals. Above the generals there was the king of the Sea Dragon clan. His strength was at least 5 dragons. If he tried to force his way through, it would be impossible for him to pass through, let alone bring along Song Suijing and Adjudicator Song. It seems that I will have to increase my strength a bit more before going through. Yi Xian thought to himself. Have you thought it through? If you have, then go back. Meng San said indifferently. To be honest, he was still afraid of death. Yi Xian stood there quietly and pondered. Yi Xian, what should we do? Song Suijing walked to his side and asked. Plans couldn't keep up with changes. In the past few years after Yi Chong left, the Deep Sea Palace was occupied by the sea race, and the only way to pass through was blocked. If one were to fly to the Bloodstone continent with a flying mount, they would have to pass through the chaotic astral ocean, where even spirit stage powerhouses could fall. Could it be that I can only kill some saint beasts and force my way through after breaking through? Yi Xian hesitated. His dantian was almost at its limit. When the time came, he would be able to break through to the strength stage after swallowing 10 different beast souls. However, that was only the strength of one dragon. It might be possible to deal with the Sea Dragon clan's captain, but not the commander, let alone the king. Moreover, there were countless experts in the Sea Dragon clan. If he were to force his way through, he would definitely die. You brat, what are you thinking about? The captain spared your life, so you should cherish it. That's right. Quickly retreat. We still need to collect the deep-sea blue algae. The fat and thin prawns were shrieking again in a sharp voice. It seems that we can only retreat first. Anyway, there are still 2 or 3 dragon saint beasts in the middle. It's too dangerous for the 3 of us to go. Yi Xian had already made a decision. It seems that you have thought it through. Let's go. Meng San looked at Yi Xian and said. However, just as he finished speaking, a voice rang out. Rumble. Suddenly, a loud rumbling sound rang out, and the entire deep-sea palace began to tremble. What's going on? Yi Xian and the others were very surprised. However, Meng San and the others understood the reason. Not good. Senior Tianjing is angry again. Stay calm. Meng San shouted. His whole body shrunk into the shell. The other 2 prawns were scared half to death. They hurriedly threw away the prawns in their hands and grabbed Meng San's pincers tightly. Yi Xian and the other 2 also turned pale with fright. They hurriedly gathered together, and when Yi Xian turned his head to look, he saw a powerful impact instantly blast over. Bang! The 3 of them instantly endured the impact. Yi Xian's feet were firmly planted on the ground. He roared in his heart, "What's going on? What a strong impact. This father's nose is going to be crooked." Song Suijing and Song Caijue were also holding his arms tightly, one on each side. As for Meng San and the other 2 prawns, they were already blown away by the impact. The impact had already arrived for 1 second. Yi Xian held on with one hand tightly holding Song Suijing's hand. He must not let go. 2 seconds. 3 seconds. The impact had already passed for 3 seconds, but the worst was yet to come. Boom. An even stronger impact came and instantly disintegrated Yi Xian's strength. The 3 of them were blown away. Not good. Chapter 333. Lost Yi Xian? Song Suijing opened her eyes wide as she watched Yi Xian and herself getting farther and farther away. No. Yi Xian clenched his teeth and was ready to follow the shockwave, but at this time he encountered a crossroad. He and the 2 siblings were directly rushed into different passages. The first shockwave lasted for 3 seconds while the second shockwave lasted for half a minute. It's not over yet. There was a third wave of air that lasted for a full 5 minutes. This time it's troublesome. Bang! Yi Xian fiercely slammed into a wall, almost breaking his bones, but at this time he didn't care about this. After safely landing on the ground, he quickly rushed out, ready to go back the way he came. However, it has been 5 minutes since he separated from Song Suijing and Adjudicator Song. In these 5 minutes he was at least hundreds of thousands of meters away. And in this deep sea, it won't be easy to find the 2. Damn it, what the hell is that? Yi Xian cursed as he hurried along. His curses echoed throughout the passageway. Before the shockwave, Meng San said a sentence. Senior Heavenly Whale is angry. It seems that these 3 shockwaves were caused by this Senior Heavenly Whale. Motherf asterisk her, if I meet you, I will definitely send you flying. Yi Xian continued to curse. He was separated from Song Suijing and Adjudicator Song. If the 2 siblings were together, it would be fine. Under the situation where the 2 joined hands, it would be more than enough to deal with the sacred beast. Yi Xian was afraid that the 2 siblings would also be separated. If Song Suijing encountered the sacred beast alone, it would be very dangerous. No, I must find them. Yi Xian secretly said in his heart. He rushed back at full speed. However, he himself was rushed through dozens of crossroads. It was easier said than done to find Song Suijing and Adjudicator Song. It took him a minute to find the location of the impact, and then he followed his memory. This time he didn't look at the map. He searched blindly and shouted angrily. Unfortunately, after searching for half an hour, he still couldn't find any clues. Furthermore, even he himself was lost. Damn it! Yi Xian was so angry that he was trembling. The 3 waves of impact just now were like a pipe being unblocked, blowing away everything in this area. There were hundreds of forks in the road, and it took him 5 minutes to rush through them. The road he was on was still fine as there weren't many Xian beasts or holy beasts, but the same couldn't be said for the other roads. He calmed down and thought for a moment, then began to search again. However, after searching for an hour, he finally encountered the second group of shrimp soldiers and crab generals. However, he had not seen it yet. He had only sensed it. He quickly rushed over. Before he even got close, he heard a series of discussions. It's really terrifying. Senior Tianjing is angry again. Today is the third time, right? There's no other way. Senior Tianjing was attacked by the evil shark clan Cyclops Python some time ago. Its tail was bitten off and it's still corroding. If it can't be suppressed, it won't be long before Senior Tianjing turns into a pool of stagnant water. Senior Tianjing is our guardian holy beast. If it dies, our Sea Dragon clan will definitely be swallowed by the evil shark clan. Let's hurry up and collect the deep-sea blue-green algae. This deep-sea blue-green algae can suppress the poison in Senior Tianjing's tail. Their voices echoed throughout the passage. Yixian listened from the corner. He thought that this group of shrimp soldiers and crab generals might have encountered Song Suijing and Song Caijua. However, just as he was about to go out and ask, he heard other voices. Hey Menglu, you guys are here too. Mengwu, why are you here? Don't mention it. Senior Tianjing rushed to this area just now. I just met the Great Captain. The Great Captain caught 2 humans who offended him and is going to take them back to the Dragon Palace. Oh? Humans? Why are humans in the deep-sea underground palace? I don't know. I heard that these 2 humans want to go to the Blood Rock continent. Are you kidding me? Go to the Blood Rock continent? Don't you know that the middle section of the deep-sea underground palace has been occupied by the evil shark clan? Even Senior Tianjing isn't sure that he can pass through the middle section. How can a few humans do it? The 2 groups of shrimp soldiers and crab generals chatted. Yixian, who was eavesdropping in the corner, suddenly trembled. There are only 3 humans in the deep-sea underground palace. One is himself, and the other 2 are naturally Song Suijing and Song Caijua. Therefore, the 2 humans captured by the Great Captain are Song Suijing and Song Caijua. The merfolk and humans have an agreement. They can't take the initiative to attack, but this is under normal circumstances. If there is a special situation, they can still take action. Yixian muttered in his heart. He started to panic as well. Although the 2 siblings were being escorted back to the Dragon Palace, what if they were imprisoned or even executed when they arrived at the Dragon Palace? No, I must save them. Yixian made a decision in his heart and directly rushed out. There is movement. The 2 big crabs reacted and immediately turned around. Why is it another human? The big crab named Mengwu said in surprise. It seems that he is in cahoots with those 2 humans. Menglu said. Yixian looked at them and directly asked, Gentlemen, we accidentally entered the deep-sea underground palace. The 2 humans you are talking about are my companions. Can you please let them go? Let them go? Mengwu and Menglu looked at each other. The former immediately said, What a joke, those 2 offended our Great Captain. We are going to take them back to the Dragon Palace to be interrogated. How can we let them go? Since you are in cahoots with them, then let us capture you. Menglu added. Let us capture him. What kind of joke is this? If Yixian were to let them capture him and take him back to the Dragon Palace like Song Suijing and Adjudicator Song, they would be finished. Where did your Great Captain go? Yixian narrowed his eyes and turned to look at Mengwu. Why do you want to catch up with our Great Captain? Let's not talk about his strength first. Do you think you can surpass us? Mengwu instantly understood Yixian's intention. Since you are so confident, why are you afraid that I will know? Yixian grinned. His face was full of ridicule. No matter how strong you are, I will not tell you unless you can defeat us. Mengwu clenched the sledgehammer in his hand. Yixian had a map of the deep-sea underground palace in his hand. However, he was running around looking for Song Suijing and lost his way. The Sea Tribe was the only way to reach the middle section of the deep-sea underground palace. As long as he could determine his current location, he would be able to find the Dragon Palace. However, it seemed that he had to deal with the 2 big crabs and the 4 big prawns. Chapter 334. One Dragon's Strength. Fine, since you don't want to tell me, I'll beat you until you tell me. Yixian's aura instantly soared. The 8 desolate sword in his hand shattered into pieces and turned into 8 sharp blades as they flew towards Mengwu. Sixth brother, don't do anything, he is mine. Mengwu shouted out loudly. He grabbed 2 huge hammers with his pincers and charged towards Yixian. Mengwu was the same as Meng San, they both had the strength of one dragon. That was why Yixian wasn't that hard to deal with. After all, they couldn't touch him, right? After fighting for half a minute, a crisp sound was heard. It was the sound of a crack appearing on Mengwu's defensive shell. What an agile guy. Mengwu, let me help you. Menglu shouted out loudly as he charged towards Yixian. Facing 2 warriors with the strength of one dragon, even Yixian felt pressured. Luckily, he had a 10% increase in movement speed, or else he wouldn't be able to deal with them. A figure was moving around in the middle of the battle. Meng Wu and Meng Lu couldn't keep up with Yi Xian's speed, so they could only attack randomly. After some time they started to feel weak because Yi Xian had shattered Meng Lu's shell as well. If they continued fighting, Meng Wu and Meng Lu would definitely die in his hands. Damn it, how can this guy be so fast in the water? He is just a late Heavenly Core warrior. Meng Wu said with regret. He had a feeling that if he was hit a few more times, his life would be in danger. Right at this moment, Yi Xian suddenly stopped attacking. Brat, we don't need your pity, Meng Wu said angrily. Yi Xian stood not far away and looked at him. There is an agreement between the ocean tribe and the humans. I don't want to kill you, I just want to find my two companions. If you want to find them, we won't tell you. Meng Wu coldly harumphed. Yi Xian squinted his eyes. A killing intent flashed through his eyes. Are you really courting death? So what? We, the ocean tribe, are not afraid of death. Meng Wu shouted out with a deep voice. He was prepared to fight to the death. Meng Lu was the same. If that's the case, then don't blame me for being ruthless. Yi Xian's eyes were filled with killing intent as he instantly attacked. This time he was filled with killing intent. Gotcha. Tian Chongpa then slammed into Meng Wu's back. At this time, a small hole had been drilled into Meng Wu's shell. There were countless cracks around the hole. Meng V went mad. He waved his pincers with all his might, but he could not hit Yi Xian. Gotcha. 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 After 3 crisp sounds, the shell on Meng Wu's back shattered. Not good. Seeing Yi Xian rush towards Meng Wu, Meng Lu also rushed over with his sledgehammer. However, the 8 blades were very agile. After being scattered, they quickly reassembled. Yi Xian widened his eyes and immediately used Heaven Break. This time, the sharp all pierced through Meng Wu's body and came out from the front. Plop. Meng Wu's head was crushed and his body fell to the ground. Human, you deserve to die. Meng Lu went mad and rushed towards Yi Xian. Not only that, the 4 prawns also shouted that they wanted to kill Yi Xian. Killing one is killing 10 is also killing. Since you have already killed, then all of you should die. Yi Xian's eyes were filled with killing intent as he attacked again. A few seconds later, Meng Lu's shell was also broken and the Bahuang sword pierced through his body. As for the 4 prawns, they were cut into pieces by the Bahuang sword. I didn't want to be your enemy, but you are courting death. Yi Xian coldly snorted and went over to collect the corpses and weapons. Moreover, he found 6 human interspatial rings. Devour. He first devoured the weapons of the 6 people and found that all of them were of high quality, comparable to Adjudicator Song's flaming sun axe. Then he tried again and found out that he could actually devour the corpses of the Sea Clan. Since they can be devoured, they should be a type of beast. But they can even use interspatial rings. The Sea Clan is quite strange. Yi Xian thought to himself and decided to devour all 6 corpses. Not enough. However, there were still many good things in the interspatial rings of the 6 Sea Tribe members. Haha, as expected, there are so many Saint Beast corpses and Saint Beast souls, devour them all. Yi Xian directly devoured all the items in the interspatial rings. Ding, the host has broken through to the heavenly core realm. Do you wish to break your core? Yes. After Yi Xian answered in his mind, a crisp sound was heard. The mortal core, earth core and heaven core in his dantian had all shattered. In an instant, his cultivation returned to 0, and all the core energies in his body were gone. After breaking the core, it was time to condense the soul. Normally, when a warrior condensed his soul, he would need a lot of soul condensing stones and Saint Beast souls. This was a very dangerous stage as the warrior would lose all his cultivation base, and he would need someone to protect him. When it came to the soul condensing stage, a warrior with good talent might only need a single soul condensing stone, but there were also those who couldn't condense their soul condensing stone even after consuming hundreds of them. But the devouring system had clearly stated that he only needed 10 different Saint Beast souls. Not to mention the ones that Yi Xian had collected himself, there were more than 30 Saint Beast souls in the interspatial rings alone. When Yi Xian had finished devouring 10 different Saint Beast souls, the long-awaited system notification finally sounded out. Ding, the host has broken through to the physical strength realm. You now possess the strength of 1 dragon. Hearing this, Yi Xian couldn't help but smile. He had finally broken through to the physical strength realm. Although his physique was strong before, it was still too weak when compared to the strength of 1 dragon. He wondered how many dragons of strength he would gain if he upgraded his myriad beasts bloodline to the Beast King bloodline. Moreover, after breaking through, the Dan essence in his body would directly transform into true Qi, making him even stronger. Now that he had the strength of 1 dragon, his physique was at least 3 times stronger than before, and his speed had also increased by 3 times. Moreover, the Bahuang sword's enhancement was getting stronger and stronger. He estimated that it had reached the level of a low-grade celestial artifact. But then he encountered another problem. He didn't know where he was now and didn't know which path the leader had taken. In the deep-sea maze, there was only one path that led to the blood granite continent. The rest of the paths were all crisscrossing, forming a huge maze. So, he just needed to find the location of the Dragon Palace, and then intercept the leader before he returned to the Dragon Palace. As for how to find the Dragon Palace of the Sea Dragon clan, that would depend on luck. After all, the path to the west was a dead end. There was no time to lose and he immediately set off. After breaking through, his speed had already far surpassed that of ordinary holy beasts, and he could definitely contend with the strength of 2 dragons. Even if he encountered that captain, he would still have the strength to fight.